I've been given warnings, 50 best about my criticism, that we got a cease and desist for making a parody merch about them last year.
You did, yeah.
What
was the parody merch?
We made a parody scarf, and the scarf said "Welcome to the Circle Jerk."
Oh yeah.
And they really didn't like that. But they were waiting for it because the previous year we did one called 50 Worst Bars.
Yeah.
And we sold out within like 48 hours. And this year, I think we sold within 2 hours like 50% of the stock.
Hello, welcome to PreBatch. Today we're speaking with Danil Nevsky. Danil is also at Cocktailman on Instagram. Most people know him by that. Founder of Indie Bartender and previous co-owner of Cocktails for You. Today we speak about Danil's career, the importance of formative years, the difference between classic cocktails and modern cocktails, the impact and corruption of awards in the bar industry, the power of persistence and embracing failure, and many other topics. Danil, welcome to PreBatch.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So I will have introduced you a little bit before this, but just tell us, well, first of all, what do you consider yourself to be? Who are you? What's your position at the moment, if anything?
Well, when I crossed the border to the US, I no longer use the term bartender because you get flagged, right?
Yep.
This is a job you can do without legally getting any papers. So now I'm a marketing consultant to them, and that's also what I tell my mom and her friends, so that they think that I have a real job. Mm-hmm. But I guess the one thing I've had to kind of, a word I hate, but I've had to kind of realize that in every single brand pitch, I'm put as this, which is influencer.
Yeah.
Because that's how they sell me. That's how the money flows. But I'd like to think in the term of like, artists, like our favorite bands. They don't have to gig every single weekend to still be called a songwriter or a singer or something along those lines. So I hold on somewhere in the deep recesses of my dark heart that I'm still a bartender. I'm just not gigging right now.
Yeah. No, I know that feeling. There was a period a few years ago. I guess it's dying out a little bit now, where everybody wanted to call every bartender above a certain level a mixologist, and I started like being in articles and they were like, mixologist Gavin Wrigley, and I was like, it made me cringe real hard, and I was like, but they couldn't let it go. It was just like, this is the word that we use now for this, and you're like, okay. And then influencer is another one. It's like, influencer is what we. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't describe the difference between you and fucking.
Well, it's.
I can't think of another one. What's the good?
Apparently,
West's wife, ex-wife. That's what I was.
Ex-wife.
I was trying to think of the what's her name.
Just get naked.
Yeah.
We're actually both naked right now. Underneath
Under the
table. Well, the thing is, it's kind of like the word mixologist is a funny one, because even now, to this day, I think I saw just recently some guy in Dubai did a video. It's like, what's the difference between a mixologist and a bartender? And it's got 120,000 views on a channel of somebody who's got like 5,000 followers. So even now, it's like such a hotly debated topic. It's one of these things, if you bring it up, suddenly it's a clip. It's clickbait. People want to discuss it. And it's the most inane discussion in the world.
Yeah.
Right? The term is not new. Right? The term has been around for ages. They've historically proven that it was being used 100 years ago. Furthermore, if you're in Asia and you have like a business card that says mixologist, you're guaranteed double the money. Like, that's like a thing. If it says bartender, you're not trained. If it says mixologist, this guy's a mixologist. In their culture, they don't see any problem with that.
Yeah.
And so it's guaranteed you more money. I will put down mixologist on a business card if I'm going to get double the salary.
If it's double, I take it. Yeah.
Any day of the week.
Yeah.
But if 1.5, who gives a shit, So it's kind of meh, whatever. Like, at this point, I'm too old to give a fuck. You're a mixologist, cool. And then I'll just see based on your behavior. Are you a mixologist just because you like the word, or are you a mixologist because you're in the first 3 years of your bartending career and you've just come third in a cocktail comp, so you're a mixologist now?
Yeah. I think my aversion to it, I guess, is like I'm from the north of England, which is like from a like a family of like miners and like working men, and my dad's a furniture restorer, so I just think like, can I go home and tell my dad I'm a mixologist, or is he going to be like, you're a bloody bartender, lad, calm down?
For sure. Well, it essentially it's like it is a blue collar job, bartending.
Yeah.
It's the only reason that it's changing is because of social media and brands deciding to pump money into it. It was if it wasn't for the brands, none of us would be here.
Yeah.
Simple as
For
that.
sure.
Maybe not in a content studio that has a specific purpose in marketing, but
Even then, it's all brand related at some level.
The money has to flow from somewhere.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing about mixologists is exactly like you said. It's like, hey, Dad, my son's a mixologist. He'll get beaten up at the pub by his own mates for having
for sure.
gay.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's kind of it. And also, you're from the north. You learned to bartend in Scotland. It's like anything that's too fancy. It's like tall poppy syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that's too fancy has to come back down. Like that's how you keep them humble.
Yeah. Anything that's beyond its intrinsic value, anything that like inflates itself beyond the actual value that's contained within it. Like if you're sort of probably north of Birmingham in the UK for sure, they're like, no, not accepted here. We don't play that shit. Like bring it back down to reality. So I remember, I don't know, we're talking like late 90s cuisine, early 2000s when plates got really small. The north of England was not having it. They were like, no, lad, like that is not dinner. Like fill the plate up.
If if it's not beige on beige on beige.
Yeah. Like, even a pint, like you serve a pint with too big a head in like the north of England.
Do you want to flake with
like, do you want to flake with it?
Do you want to flake with that?
That's
right.
That's you want to flake with that.
Exactly.
Because they're calling it an
and then you go to
ice cream,
Belgium and they're like,
yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
You send the English to Belgium, they're like, can you fill that up? And the Belgians are like, no, this is how we serve it. It's a bigger glass for that reason.
Have you seen in Munich, they have a drink called a Schnitt?
No.
I've literally got to send this yesterday. So it's a pint glass and it's like this much lager or Pilsner and this much foam. And it's like part of this weird thing, but it has to be in a brewery that brews right there. And it's like super fresh.
Mm-hmm.
I first got served that. I'm like, you are taking the piss. Like I'm an idiot who's not from here. No, there's like 50 guys all look like they could knock me out drinking these.
It feels like clickbait almost.
Yeah, right.
It's like they're trying to poke you. Like, are you going to take the? What about this?
You're getting pranked. There's a YouTube channel somewhere or something along those lines.
But the modern cocktail version of "Do you want to flake with that?" is that meme of people taking ice out of their drinks and showing how low the wash line is, and going and it's like the tagline is always something like "Your bartender is tricking you," or they're only. I've seen one where they take like a martini glass which looks half full and then they pour it. Like they pour it into another martini glass, but they can fit 3 of the same drink in and to the wash line. And you're like, yeah, but how are you going to carry that across the room? Like the glass is bigger so that we can fit that size drink in it. But you can't explain. Everything has to be simple terms, right?
It's. I think it's like it's easy to meme that stuff. You know what I mean? And the same person who's making fun out of the martini glass is then going to Salt-Bae's restaurant and paying $120 for a golden, badly cooked burger. Like it's it's kind of like
on the bun or something.
We're always disrespected, and it's not disrespected like it's like a toxic relationship, right? No one comes out of batting with like I'm gonna abuse this person and go through all their messages and be a dick to them. Everyone kind of eases into it, right?
Yeah.
If you let someone get away with something, it gets worse. And I think this is where it gets into that conversation of chefs versus bartenders, kitchen versus bar. Then there's also the floor. Like, why are sommeliers so respected? It doesn't make any sense. They're like shit Uber for wine. Like, they get paid so much to literally open a bottle of wine. They've done nothing to the product. They've just smelt it, pour themselves a bit, and put it into your glass. And yet we have a Netflix documentary. They are they're a pretentious Glovo for wine. That's what sommeliers are. Yeah. And yet bartenders suck, sommeliers are sophisticated. Get fucked.
Yeah. They are just passing on information at the end. They create nothing.
Even baristas, God, the Carhartt wearing cynical cunts that they are, right? With their like non-binary interests. I'm just being a douche now. But the point is,
If-
even they
If they're not
affect the
non-binary,
final.
I'm not drinking there. Like the macchiatos are shit.
It's not a good.
Go
it's,
to Costa.
It's not good if it's not a non-binary person in a car hat and some Birkenstocks. No, but no. The point is, even they affect the final product. If they don't taper the coffee correctly, if they don't measure it correctly, like how long they, if it's a latte or whatever, how they do the milk, it all affects the final product. Sums are useless.
But who's going to make sure that the corkscrew doesn't go all the way through the cork, Danil? You have to think about this. Have you ever opened a bottle of wine? It's complicated shit, man.
Well, my God. With the shoe, yeah, of course.
Otherwise, I can only handle a screw cap. It's like show a cork to me, I'm like, not for me, man. I'm not
It's like
trained.
an Australian box of goon, you know, like the bag-and-box. You know, whatever.
Yeah, man. Nothing wrong with goon, man. I lived in
love it.
Australia for a long time. We used to do some crazy shit with goon.
Yeah, Australians in general, like, it's a whole different...
Drinking games with goon, man.
Their entire culture,
It's wild.
it's I can't handle it. Like I thought I could if Scotland, north of England, no, Australians, everything is. It's like that old like fake mockumentary about rock stars. It goes up to 11.
Yeah.
They are
What
them.
is it? Spinal tap?
Spinal Tap, yeah, exactly. But this one goes up to
But this
11.
one goes up to 11. It's the best. I have a friend in Australia that's got tattooed on him, "Life is goon, goon is life. Let's get animal," across his stomach. It's like all he drank was goon, man. But like, and he would take it out of the box immediately and just walk around with a silver bag of goon, just like squirting into his mouth. Like, you are wild.
Frat boys in Australia are different, right?
It's a different different thing. Anyway, we're taking like 17 detours already, but that's good. I like it. So tell us, so we mentioned UK hospitality. You made it clear that you came up in the UK like a little bit, I guess. So how did you cut your teeth in hospitality? What's your short 5-minute backstory, or 20, or
no, it's gonna be forever.
Yeah.
Fuck. No, I think everyone has an underdog story. Like we don't have a Bruce Wayne of the bar world, right? No one's born into a millionaire and goes, "I'm gonna go fucking clean toilets and shit off a sink." You know, no one does that. So everyone tends to be more working class, or they're university and they do it on the side and they end up falling into it and falling in love with it. And I have the same story. In my case, slightly different because of immigrant from Eastern Europe. And so it was kind of more of a situation where when we moved to Scotland, my mother got a job in the petroleum industry, Aberdeen, the scumbags that we are.
We're further north than me, man.
But we're the scumbags of Scotland. You know what I mean? Like Edinburgh is the English, which is hilarious.
You guys are the wildlings.
Exactly. And it's a situation where I'm like 15 years old. We're in the Shire. We're not in the city yet, just on the outskirts. And I'm old enough to now be like, hey, I want to go to the pictures. I want to go to the cinema. I want to bring a date. Like, Dad, can I get some cash? And until that moment, that was not really something I would ever ask in my life because we weren't as well off. Now my mom got this like upgrade in the job. We're like actually living in a nice place. So I'm asking for money, and Dad kind of does this like almost like his best Shaquille O'Neal impression. He's like, "We don't have money. Your mom has money. You're poor. Go get a job."
Nice.
And it's the classic mentality of if you're from that class of people, you go get a job. And in my case, the only job I could get that was nearby was a 3-star Aberdeenshire hotel that made most of its money on weddings. Okay. So 15 years old, catering, weddings, the penguin, holding the plate and then giving out soup, the classic shenanigans for the first 3 years of my life. And the only booze education, or the reason I think there was an infatuation with bar, was because the bartenders looked like they were having a ton more fun than we were in the kitchen, getting shouted on by a crew of French chefs who spoke barely any English, let alone Scottish.
So you just cater it, like you just like clearing plates and
the classic
setting up the buffets,
classic 200 courses on those plate racks, and then you go out and you
just running tables.
Exactly, running tables, and then sometimes you would earn extra because you'd stay for dessert when there'll be like a chocolate fountain with and you just clear that. Exactly.
I'm just clearing the chocolate fountain, guys.
You're hoping everyone's too pissed, and then afterwards you're all like, But yeah, that was it. That was the first years of your life. And the only kind of bonus when it comes to booze is that we're in Aberdeenshire, all these distilleries are nearby. If anyone was to come and going to do a training in our bar, the bar manager would go, "Hey guys, you polish cutlery at the back, you can listen in." I'm like, "Man, this sounds cool. This is better than school."
Yeah.
And they're telling you about whiskey, and then you're 15 years old, and when the guy from the distillery leaves, and it's always someone from the distillery. There's no BAs in Aberdeenshire.
No.
It's like a distillery worker. And then you get to taste some whiskey underage, and everyone turns a blind eye. It's farmer stuff, farmer lands. And that was the beginning of it. And then it was the classic, go to university, move into the city, get a job with hospitality because that's what you know. And I already have 3 years of experience. So you're already kind of...
Yeah.
No one at the age of 18 normally has 3 years of experience. Hospitality, I would say, is one of the few industries where you can come in at 18 when you can legally finally serve alcohol and have years of experience because you might have been working in a pub or something.
Yeah.
And so then it was kind of fast track because I ended up going to like the busiest place in Aberdeen, which was a fake knockoff TGI Fridays, of course. Getting a job as a barback. And then simply because I had I spoke 2 languages. I spoke English and Russian. And it's an engineering town. And there was a lot of Eastern European engineers in Aberdeen. Aberdeen was the oil and gas capital of Europe until the financial crisis, essentially. And just a little bit after it because of North Sea oil.
Okay. Makes
And
sense.
so I could upsell. And these guys spoke no English. So that was the difference between 3 pints of Tennent's and 3 pints of Tennent's and 3 18-year-old Bunnahabens. Yeah, try and say that, motherfuckers. You can't even say Lefroy. Wait till you see Bunnahaben. Anyway, the point is then I was immediately upgraded because I was more value to the pub. And that was the first 2 years of my life. And then it was just classic. Brand ambassador comes, you go to your first brand ambassador training. You're like, this is cool. There's a whole world out here. Oh, there's a competition. Let me participate. Completely failure, shakes, everything.
But what year is it? What year are you at the
2008
knockoff TGI Fridays?
2008 to 2009, almost 2010.
Okay, so we do have brand ambassadors at that point then, I guess. Because I'm thinking because I have a similar trajectory to you, but when I was in that kind of, I was at Walkabouts. You probably know Walkabouts, right? Like I came up through Walkabouts, and I was running one of them in Blackpool.
Ooh.
Yeah, fancy.
Fucking hell.
Fucking high output though. Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's volume.
That is volume, man. I think we did 120 grand a week on £1.50 vodka Red Bulls. So whatever the maths is there, you can figure out the covers. It's pretty much 80,000 covers, isn't it?
We were a high end venue, and we were like £2.75 for vodka Coke.
Yeah.
Gun.
Yeah.
And we did like 20 grand, 25 grand on a Saturday.
Yeah.
But Aberdeen's a small city. Weekend town, but that's volume. That's
it's just mad, just pumping them out, man. I remember we were
you pick up the highballs like this.
We were the Red Bull told us that we were the biggest client of Red Bull in the UK.
Fantastic,
because it was just vodka Red Bulls. We did £1.50 vodka Red Bulls, just fucking flying out, man.
The good old days when you could go into Rev,
and
if you were a student, it was like £6 for 6 Revolution vodka shots on like one of those little paddles.
Yeah. And the UK's weird like that. UK still has all these chain bars that you don't see so much in other countries, right? You see Revolution. You got TGIs you still see around the world, but didn't they file for bankruptcy recently?
They're still the same.
It's like splintered ownership now, maybe, or some of them still exist.
Well, the American branch is one thing in the UK. I think they've kind of separated. Hard Rock Cafe is weird as well because they're all over the world. But then there's Hard Rock Resorts, which is these 5-star hotels, which
all over the world and somehow never busy. I look in Hard Rock when I go away somewhere. I'm always like, where is everyone? How are they managing this? I just want to look at their P&L. I'm like, can you show me how much your rent is and how you survive? What's the hustle here,
dude? None of this. I no longer believe I understand how the world works. Right now, there's 50 million 5-star hotels opening up in every single city, and suddenly Barcelona has gone from a place where you can get a decent enough hotel for €100 a night to suddenly it's minimum 200, 250.
Yeah, it's wild now.
And I'm like, who are these people? Did everybody become a crypto bro and invest in GameStop? And then I didn't. I was the one idiot. And then I asked all my friends, and none of them did that. So who are the people staying in these hotels? Where do they get the money?
I don't know. It's just supply and demand. I guess a bunch of places closed down, and then they're reopening and to get back to demand, and we're seeing that price difference. But even with hostels, man, not that I stay in hostels, but we deal with them for the bar school. And it went from we could get a deal at €15 a night to now it's €50 a night minimum with bro rates,
Exactly.
It's whoa, what the fuck?
It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely zero sense to me because flights have gone, whatever. This is us being middle-aged man.
yeah,
It's not the same.
Back in my day. yeah, classic. Anyway, so yeah, you did cheap knockoff TGI Fridays in Aberdeen, but high output.
Okay, I'll go back to the 5-minute summer story.
Yeah, go.
Scottish weddings between 15 and 18, knockoff TGI Fridays between 18 and like 20, university, and then I found a job in a nightclub that was like the biggest rival to our existing place that I was working in. And essentially I was offered like assistant bar manager for the same money. And so I'm 19 years old, I'm going for assistant bar manager. And the only reason I got the job is because the owner of that entire place was a drug importer. He used to import cocaine into Aberdeen, Scotland. And and everybody was scared to work for him. And I was the only person who was too young to know that this person is dangerous.
Yeah.
So I came into the interview with my Asda Price suit and came in and I was like, hey, listen, I want this job. And he took the interview with the words of like, I wanted to see which 19-year-old had the balls to walk in here.
Yeah.
And I sat in front of him. I was like, well, I've heard you beat up the last guy, but I heard that they were stealing from you. And he goes, yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to steal from you. I got university. I got all these plans, engineering. And then the rule with him was very simple. He said, you're the only person who's been honest with me in the whole day for interviews. And so I have 2 rules, Dan. First of all, you never steal from me. And number 2, you never lie. If you fuck up, I will always help you and teach you whatever I know. Just don't lie. And I followed those rules for 3 years. I went from assistant bar manager to interim GM at one point because the person who actually was training me ended up stealing from him, and that didn't end well. Yeah. This 3 years is enough for a 4-hour podcast. The shit that happened in this venue.
Yeah.
But the best part about it is that as a result of working for him and kind of being that person, I was fast-tracked in getting all of the necessary, like personal license and this kind of stuff that you would get later on. I was forgiven for every single horrific bar management mistake you could ever make as a bar manager because I'm too young to be managing 30, 40 people and a Polish semi-amateur adrenaline junkie creatine pumped up MMA wannabe security team that beat the shit out of 18-year-old students.
Yeah.
But by honestly being honest with him and him kind of teaching me, I was fast-tracked to management. And I realized, fuck management, man, it sucks. Especially in a nightclub and whatever. But I was looking after eventually the whole building. And so there was also a food element and whatever. I realize now that I wasn't really a general manager or anything. I was more of a glorified admin for him. He trusted me with the money because I was the only person who was trustable with the money.
Yeah.
Stock take is not exactly difficult.
No.
It's just tedious.
Yeah.
And so I was a very good placeholder. I wasn't probably doing all of the responsibilities what a GM should be doing.
Yeah, but GM can mean different things to different people anyway. It's not.
And Aberdeen is not London. You know what I mean? But I'm very, very grateful for that happening simply because I got a taste of what could have happened 10 years down the line.
Yeah.
And that could make a more informed decision of my next sort of steps.
Yeah.
And my next step was to go to work in a local cocktail bar that was kind of place called Orchid, and that was already kind of on the map, so to speak, for us. And then there was competitions that started coming up, and we're, doing those, going to national finals, going to global finals, and that was me dipping into that 1% of cocktail bars that are part of this circus. And that's when I was offered to move to Amsterdam, made that jump. That's 50 Best, that's seminars, that's travel, and then it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know what I mean? You're part of this kind of elite crew, and when you're in the room with people who all have big ambitions and are doing seminars and workshops and guest bartending, you will feed off that energy. And if you want, now you're kind of competing with them, so that leads to self-development. It is something that a bunch of these Jim Bro, Chris, Modern Wisdom podcasters talk about. Your company you keep will push you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
And
it becomes your perspective,
Exactly. And so that was exactly the same thing. By being thrust into it at such a young age, I felt like I had to keep up. There was a certain self-pressure. And next thing you know, I'm here. I have my own company. We're doing all sorts of different things. I'm now in negotiations on, doing marketing campaigns and guest bartending takeovers in 4 different continents this year, which is not something I would ever imagine I would be doing when I'm like working for someone who scares the living shit out of me when he walks in the room.
For sure.
7 days a week.
Yeah. I think I don't know if everyone's got it, but I think a lot of people have that story. I mean, especially if you came up in the UK, I think like there's no fancy start, like you say, like, like everyone starts in a pub or something like that. Like I started at like 13 making tuna sandwiches in a pub for like functions for 20 people.
Love it. The triangle ones, and you're like,
oh yeah, but you remember, it's crazy how you remember like from your formative years, those first few years, like the learnings that you make there are like so ingrained in your brain. Like I still remember now, like probably I was 13 years old, and I remember like we'd take like an ice cream scoop like to get the tuna mayo out of a bucket that we'd
because it's the perfect amount.
And, and then you put it in the middle of the sandwich, and you don't spread it out to the sides. Then you cut it into triangles so that it looks full, but it's not really full. And that's how you fill 4 sandwiches with 1 scoop of tuna mayo.
And everyone takes the massive bite.
Stick. They take 1 bite and they're like, oh, it's all gone. It's like, well, we sell by the sandwich, dude. Like, we don't specify the volume of tuna mayo or whatever it is, But
don't you think, weirdly enough, those like first 3-4 years, those formative years, are the most vivid memories you have?
Yeah.
Right? And then
not just vivid, but almost important. Like I kind of think like I've learned far more high level stuff and stuff that's far more interesting to talk about, and I can get really deep on certain things, and like I could talk about rotovaps or whatever, like now. But actually, the things which shape me every day, or like have some bearing on my work ethic and personality and my sort of professional approach to things. It's all baked into my maybe 13 to 20-year-old sort of frame, certainly like becoming a manager. I think like just those first couple of years where you get told certain things. I think your mentor at that point, like whether it's your mentor or whether just experiences that you have at that time, I think they're so much more influential on who you become than the years that come after that. Even though the things that come after that seem more important, they seem more high level.
If you self-evaluate them. Ooh. Here we go.
Holy shit.
All right.
We've got drinks coming in.
Looks like an iced latte.
Yeah.
It's a Singapore Sling, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. All right, we got our first drink, Singapore Sling.
Fantastic.
You went all classics. It was a test.
Yeah, well, no, not really. It's just because I recently did a meme about the Singapore Sling, and the point of it is always no one ever remembers the specs. Like, we know what's in it, more or less, but everyone always forgets kind of the ratios, and then everybody ends up going on Difford's Guide to check the specs, and they're like, 1 dash of Angostura, like 5 ml of grenadine?
1
like,
dash? No, come on.
It's 1 dash.
Yeah, I know.
But thing is, that's what I mean. You're like, this is the spec, doesn't seem right. And yes, here we are. I'm going to Singapore for the first time in 2 weeks. Apparently nobody drinks these over there.
No, I would say no.
That's all right.
That's pretty good.
That's good. Keep them coming.
What's in there? What's that? There's something treacly in there. What's
Well, it's Dom Benedictine, grenadine.
Oh, maybe it's Dom.
Angostura, gin, if I'm not mistaken, pineapple, lime. I only know this because of that Difford's Guide doing the meme about it. That's it.
It's Angostura, grenadine,
cherry herring,
cherry herring, lime, gin, pineapple juice.
See, no one remembers.
Yeah, what's that? In some ratios.
Give or take.
In scaling order.
But here's the thing. So you just, going back to what you're talking about, the formative years and that thing. I am trying now to find a way back to that. Does that make sense? Because, yes.
Like first principles, basically. Getting back to what defines us.
Well, it's almost like trying to trick my own brain or self-manipulating myself into that state of mind. That sounds very complicated, but I'll simplify it.
Go.
I'm lucky enough that I get to go to Tales of the Cocktail every year. Most of the time it's paid by myself, so I'm lucky enough to have the financial ability to take myself over there. And for the last three times I've been, I normally identify through friends and bars I visited the people that are in New Orleans for the first time. Like there'll be people there. Like this year, I hung out with the maybe Sammy crew from Australia and a couple of other folks. And New Orleans, with Tales of the Cocktail, there's 1 million takeovers, like 25,000 bartenders in the city, all at the same time. This is their 1 year that they're gonna blow all their money in New Orleans. But because of the sheer volume of these events, often they don't get to actually enjoy the city for what it is. And New Orleans is so much cooler than Tales of the Cocktail if you go there. So one of the things I end up doing is at least one of the weeks, I gather all these kind of like Tales versions and I go, let's do a classic bartending bar crawl. We're going to go to where they made the Ramos, the Sazerac, the Vieux Carré, the places associated with them. Some of them are disgusting, like Two Jacks and the Grasshopper. Who the fuck drinks grasshoppers and cream and mint in 36, 40 degree weather?
100% humidity.
Yeah, it's
brutal.
Awful. Yeah, and I'm lactose intolerant, so I'm taking a shit 20 seconds later.
Yeah.
But that... And then we end up at like this place that does Shark Attack cocktail. Have you seen this? So on Bourbon Street. Oh, it's disgusting. Yeah. It's horrific. It's sours mix.
Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah,
but they have
a
shark that has like grenadine or like some red liqueur in it, and the drink is blue, and then they ring a bell and whistle and put the shark in the drink, and there's blood in the water. It's so lame. It's amazing. And so watching these like 50 best bars bartenders, but they're Tales virgins, have a shark attack and go, oh my God, theater. But it's so lame. It's just, it's chemicals and shit and diabetes. But just watching their face light up and enjoy it and be a part of it kind of reminds me of my first Tales when actually someone took me on one of these bar crawls, when it was much smaller, when there wasn't as many guest shifts. That was the entertainment.
Yeah.
And then going on this bar crawl with them, and then they go, hey guys, we've got 2 more bars to hit, but I know you wanted to go see Paradiso pop up. They're like, fuck that, let's go to these other bars.
Yeah.
See what I mean? So by just being there and introducing him to that is kind of my way of living vicariously through them and that's a formative core memory for them, you know? Yeah. And I get to be a part of that, and that makes me happy because maybe if I wasn't there, they might just end up going to a bunch of guests and going, why the fuck did we spend $2,000 on a flight and $2,000 on hotels to watch Paradiso?
Yeah. When you live in Barcelona,
you know, like Margarita doing a
PreBatch cocktails.
Fucking little dance again, you know, in 40 degree weather and 100% humidity. Like, what am I doing?
Look, it's our drinks from Barcelona, but it's a bit hotter here and much more humid,
and it's even more unbalanced. You know, like it's crazy.
I didn't say that.
It's okay. Giacomo knows my opinion, and that's why I only order Manhattans. But see what I mean?
But yeah, it also, I suppose, like that really strips back the pretension, because this is something which like bothers me about, like especially like sort of top 50. Like I think it's getting better slightly, but like a while ago I was on the blue drinks train. I was like, nah, we should make all fucking blue. All drinks should be blue. Like if they can be blue, make them blue. Like why not? And it was like, it was very frowned upon to say shit like that. It's like, I'm talking like 5-10 years ago, whatever, when it was like super down. You're like, yeah, but guys, it's fine. Like we can have fun. It's okay to have fun. Like I know drinks should be balanced and they should be nice and they should be classy, and there's a lane for that. But when we are different to food. People drink to get merry and have fun and take the piss.
When they're happy, when they're sad, they'll drink.
Yeah. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with a shark attack, man. Like if it's fun. Yeah. I mean, I could never convince my business partner to put shark like a grenadine in a drink, but I wouldn't be against it. He would never accept it.
It's one of these things there where I wouldn't do it in my own bar, but I want to go to the bar once a year and where they do it.
I would say like if I had 5 bars, I would do it in one of them. I would be like, I'd make that the shark attack bar, but it wouldn't be the first 4. I'd be like, I keep it classic and safe.
But this is the thing. So, and you don't have to go to Tales to do that. You can do that anywhere. And here's the thing with the pretension, right? When you get into these particular like rooms where, everybody takes it super seriously, and they have to some certain extent in order to be taken seriously, realistically speaking. But when people really start to believe that and kind of live that pretentiousness and live that image that they've created in their head, which is normally stems from imposter syndrome and Dunning-Kruger effect and back to I'm just a bartender, but holy shit, I'm getting business class flights from staying in a 5-star hotel, or I'm getting invited, I'm getting paid a monthly salary for this gig. You know what I mean? It's all of those things combined are not actually it's a toxic cocktail, you know, like all of those things, especially when the industry is all about blue collar, you know what I mean? So you build up these walls that are usually stem from that paradox of my lifestyle versus where I've come from, but yet I almost have to pretend to be a pauper. You know what I mean?
And it comes back to the brand, right? Because who's paying for all this? The brand wants to elevate themselves. It's all about elevating. You know, they all want to be high class. No matter what brand they are, they all position themselves that we want to be like top shelf, or at least like, you know, one shelf above where we actually really are. And it's your job. We're paying you to go out there and tell everyone how high class we are. So you can't come back to me and give me a shark attack drink and say,
exactly,
this is the drink I want to promote. Even though this is the volume drink, because if we can get this over the line, you're going to sell a shitload of product. And like, yeah, but that's not really like marketable. You know, the social media manager isn't going to put that like, and we also can't promote irresponsible drinking. You know,
that's not a perfect serve.
You know, it's not perfect serve. Like, it's not all balance. You know, so.
But where I'm going with this is that for every single person in the room who's like that's annoying. I was just having a discussion today where the chance I had a friend who said I'm probably gonna leave the industry because of the toxic elements of the industry, and some people in the industry are really problematic in this person's eyes. And playing devil's advocate, we're like, well, that's more reason not to leave the industry, to be the counterbalance. So for every pretentious wanker in the room, you can be the fun, real, authentic person in the room. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you leave, then it's going to be just all of these fucking pretentious wankers. And even to some extent, being the opposite gives you more value.
Yeah.
Because then people gravitate towards that. Like, one of the things I remember when I first started speaking out about the issues I found in the industry through social media was the amount of DMs getting like, oh my God, you're so like outspoken, or you're talking about all these things. Oh my God, where do you get the courage? I'm like, we talk about these things at 2 a.m. when we're shit-faced at a dive bar.
Yeah.
I'm just talking about them sober on social media. And next thing you know, all these supposed brands that would never invest into that are actively looking to invest into it and promote it. And so it's kind of like being a salmon swimming upstream, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
My only worry would be is everybody starts to be too honest and too authentic and too real. Ironically enough, that would possibly create competition.
That dilute your brand.
Well, exactly, right? Like
exactly.
That will create competition.
Yeah, but I think you're like, I think there's I do like that about you. You know, like I'm not a big follower on social media. I doom scroll a little bit, but I'm very much a voyeur and not much of a voyeur.
I don't kink shame.
Too sexual. But yes. No.
As he rubs his knees underneath the table.
I'm like,
I'm just a voyeur guy. Shit. When's EBS Amsterdam open?
Now my brain's got into a dark place now. But I do like that you know, like you take a moment to consider you know, like trends and you know, because this is very much it. Like, social media is very much trends, and like online in general is like there's trends, and it's like it's almost like people are following each other, but also the algorithm is like forcing everyone to go in the same direction, because it's like this thing has got the heat, and then you've got counterpoints to that, because you know, like certain things the algorithm likes you to disagree with so that you get more reach, and then you have and this is how we end up with, in almost every area, politics being the key one, is like you end up with people at both extremes, and everyone in the middle is just like, I don't want no part of this. Like, you both seem insane to me. Like, you know, left and right.
Don't download X.
So like, I haven't even. I'm not even going there anymore. But I hear it's madness on there. Just absolute extremes on both sides. But what I see from you is that you take a minute to go, okay, like, you know, this person thinks this. Let me break that down and think about it for real. And like, what do I actually think? And you know, like, you have to keep it short form on Instagram, and then probably long form on YouTube, maybe a bit longer form.
No, absolutely. YouTube. So here's, if anyone's going to be watching or listening to this, There's a
No,
couple
that won't. It's not really for that.
for the 5 people in this room.
It's just me and these guys.
This is the one thing I've learned about this whole social media landscape simply through being a part of it. And a lot of people don't realize this. We all live in an echo chamber anyway. Like, you wake up, you go to buy whatever, go by your day, you meet X amount of people. That's your social. And then we had Facebook, now it's Instagram. We've also got TikTok, we've got YouTube, we've got X, whatever, I don't really count that. And each of those platforms has almost its own little audience, right? They're kind of different. And this is going to become more and more prevalent as more people get online, because there's still a lot of people who aren't online or considered online. It's like smoking. If you smoke less than X amount, you're not considered an online user. Or like if you smoke less than 7 cigarettes a week, you're not a smoker by health standards. It's an actual thing.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's an actual thing. So it's the same thing for social media. So specific age groups, specific target audience service. So you're targeting not real life, you're targeting a very specific echo chamber. And then there is how much those people use that platform on top of that. Somebody who puts X amount of hours of their attention into that is a different range of usage, right? So it's kind of like your grandmother getting an email from a Nigerian prince promising her 60 million, and she goes, "Oh my God, yes, here's my details." Or you getting it going, "That's a scam." See what I mean? Like there's like experience. That's how we get extreme situations of people believing everything they see online versus somebody going like, "Oh, they're selling me a product. Oh, that's a scam." You know what I mean? There's that. But you have to take all of that information and filter it through the bar industry, and why the bar industry is actually going through a crisis. When we were all on Facebook was you, your friends, and you could actually see at the time, if your friend reshared something, you could see a timeline feed of the number of friends you had, which was limited. And if they shared anything, it would come up on your timeline. It wasn't algorithmic, it was real time.
Yeah.
And there was groups. We used to have a Sydney Bartender Exchange. We used to have a London. They still exist.
Yeah, I mean that's almost the only reason that I still have Facebook.
That's the only reason I still have
groups,
Facebook. And that's the whole point. So you used to be part of these groups, and that's actually how the bar industry became almost like together as a community.
Yeah.
And now everyone's migrated to Instagram and to some extent TikTok with the newer generation. That's a cult of personality. That's all about one person and their page. There's no forum. There's none of that. So we've gone from a place where you could go, "Hey, we're all living in," like we used to have Aberdeen and Bartenders Association, and we're like, "Guys, I'm out of limes. Does anybody have a spare case?"
Yeah.
Another bartender from another bar would go, "We have some extra. We'll bring it over to you." And there would be no financial contract. Like people used to just help each other out.
Yeah.
You can't go on Instagram and go, "Hey, I'm out of limes." You're going to need to hope that you're connected with that person that might not never know you. And does that make sense? A stranger could help you on Facebook.
But
on
is
Instagram.
that not still happening on Facebook? Because I know, like in Manchester, it is. Like
No, 100%. The people who became, but now think about it. There's a specific target audience and age group there. A young person who's on TikTok, a newly freshly baked bartender that's 18 years old that has TikTok and Instagram isn't gonna download Facebook to be part of a Facebook group where they might have to give you some limes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's like
so the guys with the limes are all getting older.
They're all getting older. They're all gonna the lime merchants.
Yeah.
But where am I going with this? This is where when I saw that I was like, cool. So now why do we have such a big problem with Instagram? Is that it's all about individuals or like the cult that they're a part of, and you form a personality cult, which, you're like simping for these people and their look and their thing. And the whole point of my account was I can't change the format of the media, but I can behave more like Facebook. Because one way or another, the younger generation is going to want to have a place where they can discuss something.
Yeah,
where they're not gonna feel judged, and they can do that in the comment section.
So is that how you see, your account is almost like a community group on Facebook?
That's exactly the point of it. Like
you want the comments to be community driven. You want people to discuss things on there, talk to each other.
I encourage it. I talk about it. That's why whenever anybody DMs me anything, I always keep their anonymity. If they do comments that even I vehemently disagree with about certain topics, I always make sure to reply, even against my personal emotion, as open-minded as possible. Because the moment you shut somebody down, because no one's a user like me, I'm on all the time.
Yeah.
But if someone feels that they finally feel the courage to comment on a topic they might feel about, and you turn around and go, "Fuck you, you're stupid," you've completely shut the door to that.
Yeah.
Their only like expression is that, well, I'm never gonna comment on this guy's shit again. I might like some of it, but this guy's a dick.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So the only way to bring them into the table is to be open to them coming to the table in the first place, and then asking them the relevant questions to make them change their mind. This is like getting so beyond Singapore Sling philosophical.
No, but this is the point, man. This is the point.
But this is what would happen at bar events and at bars when we were growing up. Bartenders used to hang out with each other, and you know, by nature, if somebody said something fucking misogynistic or racist, even slightly, not necessarily, or a dumb joke that was, it would kind of balance itself out in the bar.
Yeah.
Shut up, wind your neck in. You know, they would get, an older person in the community would correct them, and they would be correctly moved over. Now, because everyone's online, that doesn't happen. And the moment you start doing that, you're toxic. So why not be that to some extent? There is plans for me to possibly, in the next 3 years, to develop a Discord community, to bring back all the community features of Facebook that no one's going to use, but possibly migrate them to a Discord channel. We have that in the plan, but that's going to...
What does that mean? You've said some words there.
Discord is an app that used to exist for gamers, for like clans and talking over, but it's actually being used for businesses now. So AI, image generation, there's a company called Midjourney, one of the best to do it. Yeah. They're on Discord. So you have to download the Discord app.
I've heard about this actually.
And then you actually pay through that and whatever, and it has loads of different things that you can do inside it. So a lot of influencers, they have Discord channels where basically you're like, it's almost kind of like...
Wasn't something like WhatsApp based on Discord? I heard a documentary about Discord, and it was like Slack. Wasn't Slack?
No, but Slack,
based on Discord.
They're all interconnected. At the end of the day, a lot of them now offering similar features, but Discord's the biggest one for that kind of stuff. Okay. But what you can do in Discord, and a lot of people have it, it's because of the likes of Midjourney, which has like 21 million users. Yeah. So it's one of the ones people are more likely to download, because how many more fucking apps are you going to download? Yeah. That's why Instagram now has community features, because they're like, okay, we want you to stop using these other apps. I want you to use our ones. So they start to integrate the features. Too long didn't read. The idea is to keep the flame of community-based bartending alive. And if no one's doing it, it's better, even to the detriment financially or physically, to keep that flame burning. Because otherwise, there's irreparable damage. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I think someone needs to do something about that, because I haven't thought too much about it, but I do know that, like, a lot of people are using, like, I think you and me are probably at the age where we're using Facebook, the app, and I separate that from Messenger, because I still use Messenger for some other groups and stuff that I have with like family and stuff like that, and older people. And then I have the app purely for groups. It's like there is nothing on there for me, and if I have to go on there and find a group for something, I'm like trying to get away from the news feed as quickly as possible, because it's toxic environment on there.
It's garbage.
But yeah, like at some point that's clearly not going to sustain the app, and then those groups die, and what replaces that? I noticed like WhatsApp is kind of a thing, you know. I'm in some WhatsApp groups which are very long, like very big audience lists with moderators that post, and no one else can post anything. But it's very restricted, you know. Like you can't put, you know, like it's only moderators. It's either moderators or everyone. And if you let everyone post, then it's too much
chaos.
It's just absolute chaos.
And then
if
someone's
only
a
moderators
troll.
post, then it's just like a dictatorship. And you're like, okay, well, this doesn't really work. It's not the same as like the Facebook thing.
Well, it's almost like
you also
forums.
can't go and search it and find them, and weirdly, you can get everybody's phone number on there as well. Like, you know, like I'm in some groups with like 500 people, and I can go in, I check the participants, and it's like a list of phone numbers. So I'm like, that's pretty mental.
Right?
I can do that.
That's where, like, for example, Discord or Instagram community groups, that can't happen, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's a long-term discussion, and the other end of it is the irony of the term social media is that it's actually caused us to be less social, not in the broad, clickbaity sense, in the fact that I completely attribute the growth of the bartending community and its closeness and first with the rise of Facebook, right? We jumped on it, we formed these communities, and that's where a lot of these early things formed. Cocktail competitions. I remember following World Class through status updates on Facebook of friends of mine who were either sharing stuff from there, or they were participants, or they were audience members. And getting hyped, waiting for an update from another person about who's top 8, top 3, blah, blah, blah. Nowadays, you wouldn't catch me going on the World Class Instagram to check for updates on World Class at all, right? No. And that is simply because of the disconnection from the community in itself. Like, you ask people, even in Barcelona, like, oh, what's happening in Madrid? They'll name you like 3, 4, 5 bars. They don't really know what's going on, right? And now just simply scale that to the whole world, right? I've just started working with Coco from Marlowe Bar, the French guy. He's helping me out a little bit, and I'm sitting down. I'm like, cool, here's the plan for the year. I'm going to be going here, 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 and here. He's like, cool, never been to London, never been to New York, never been here, never been there. I'm like, oh, what about this bar, this bar? I've never heard of it. And I don't look down on him for that. I go, okay, well, I'm the idiot who lived in London, Aberdeen, Amsterdam, whatever. I, by definition, am exposed to this. But you're meant to be working in a bar that's connected in a community, and you have no clue what's going on. So maybe there's a huge disconnect between what I know, which I think is normal to know, and yourself. Does that make sense? And maybe I grew up during the Facebook generation, so I'm interested in what's happening in other countries and cities actively by nature versus nurture. And why would you give a fuck? You've been in the industry for 5 years, and Barcelona is all you know, and no one here gives a fuck about anybody.
In Barcelona, there's also to the people who are here, I think Barcelona is the center of the world. I mean, much like London and New York, if you're in New York, you think New York is the center of the world. If you're London, you think London is the center. If you're in Barcelona, it's the same thing, I think, to some degree.
You give a local bartender who's never worked anywhere and you tell them that Sips is the best bar in the world, they're going to really, really have a mental breakdown when they go to New York or London.
Yeah.
And they're going to go, we don't even do what a bar I've never heard of is doing here, and the quality they're bringing out in service, ice, everything. Why the fuck are these guys considered the best in the world? And the same thing can be said for, this is like the fallacy of the list.
Yeah, well, this is so I'd love to get your take on this then, because this is a cool topic, I think. Because I'll never be able to have an unbiased opinion on UK hospitality, specifically London, but there's other big cities. Obviously I'm biased. Like I'm Manchester based. I don't know. I'm not from Manchester, but I think Manchester hospitality is great. I think London hospitality is great. They're slightly different, but both quite high level. And I think the world has. This is grandiose. Sorry for this, but the world has benefited from UK hospitality pumping out. What happened for many years is Italians came to London and showed us how to have some style and grace and charisma, and we showed them how to be organized and have corporate systems, and then we combined our powers together. You learned from them, though. The big Power Ranger, whatever that big one is. You
learned from them, though. They completely did not take anything you taught them on board.
No. They didn't take it away from them.
They didn't take anything from UK hospitality.
They did somehow go and create the world's best bars, though, because they're all Italian and worked in London for some period of time. That's the recipe, man.
I did the.
So what's your view? Anyway, tell me your story.
Well, to just follow up the joke, I think I did a seminar last year at Tales. I was part of a seminar, part of a panel, and I realized how much I'm comic relief for people, because there was people in that seminar that were meant to be giving serious stuff, and I was literally asked to make jokes.
Yeah.
And one of them was like, "What is the top 5 things you should have to make it into 50 best?" I'm like, hire an Italian. Hire an Italian, and you're definitely top 5. You're a part of it. At the end of the day, I've been given warnings, 50 best about my criticism, that we got a cease and desist for making a parody merch about them last year.
You did, yeah. What was the parody merch?
We made a parody scarf, and the scarf said, "Welcome to the Circle Jerk."
Oh, yeah.
And they really didn't like that. But they were waiting for it because the previous year we did one called 50 Worst Bars.
Yeah.
And we sold out within like 48 hours. And this year, I think we sold within 2 hours like 50% of the stock. And then the cease and desist came in hour 3. To which point we lied and we said, "Oh, fuck it, we can do." We lied and we said, "Oh, we'll have to let our Asian like drop shipping place know." There's no drop shipping.
Yeah.
So it'll take some time because they're sleeping right now. It's like late night.
Yeah. You just ship everything.
And we've like just was like messaging like, "Hey, you still want that scarf?" You know, and we managed to sell a whole bunch of it. We still have like 40 different ones.
You perjuring yourself right now?
No, because officially we completely abided by the rules. They were okay with the 24-hour notice period. We took everything off the website, so I can't sell it. I'll give it away.
So Kanye copied you with his like swastika t-shirt. Did you see that?
Yes, I'm not gonna. Please don't make that into a real Kanye. Yes, we did swastikas before Kanye did it. The 50 best bars and the 0 is a swastika.
You want to talk about balls? That guy's got fucking balls, man. Anyway, back to 50 best.
But basically, it's there's this there's a comedian who's unfortunately not around anymore called George Carlin.
George Carlin.
George Carlin, sorry. And there's a bit that he did a long time ago where he was on a panel on a talk show, and a politician called him out and said, "There's no conspiracy. There's no political conspiracy." And he gave the best ever slap like backs. He said, "There doesn't need to be one. If both the people who run this country, if they all go to the same golf clubs, they all go to the same universities, they all hang out with the same people, there doesn't need to be a formal conspiracy or a WhatsApp group saying who's going to number one. They all hang out together, so that's their circle, so they're all going to help each other and be exposed to each other, right?"
Absolutely.
And whilst any award or any Facebook group or anything always starts off with good intentions, you know, sooner or later, hierarchies form, tribalism, and etc. Nobody fully believes in the ideology. Nobody believes in the Soviet Union 3 generations down, you know? And so the same thing happened with 50 Best. And it's natural. It's just very hard to curb it. In a similar way that I said earlier on, if everyone's a dickhead in the room, you have to be the counterbalance. So the only thing the organization can do is trying to be the counterbalance to the inevitable corrupt forces that exist within the organization. If there's a way to break the rules, they will. And they do it. We know there's a Latin bloc. We know there's a Canadian bloc. We know there's an Italian bloc. We know it. We know there's a certain element of the London bloc. You know, they all help each other. And it makes sense because if you're going to London and you work there for a couple of years, what incentive do you have to go to bars that you've never heard of and that they could be new? You're going to go see your friends. You're going to go see the people you know. It's going to be the same 5 or 6, 7 bars that you know from way back when. And so naturally, you're going to get a different reception. You're going to get a different service. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be best in the world. There's your nostalgia, your bias, and then your vote's decided. And so essentially,
circular just feeds into itself.
Yeah, and it's not done with some toxic reason or evil reason. It's just natural human behavior. Not everyone is as idealistic as myself or possibly even yourself. Not everyone is, you know, trying to fight the good fight because it doesn't really benefit one. Doing nice shit for people you don't know, 99.9% of the time, it doesn't reciprocate and doesn't mean shit. It's almost you convincing yourself you're a good person. It's like giving away to charity. I've done a good deed for the day. And so that's maybe my sickness, you know, or the people that do it that don't expect anything back. And so for 50 Best, I think that's what's happened. And I think that they're aware of it 100%. I think they don't know how to fix it, but I think they're also stuck in this catch-22. If they make too many moves, someone's going to call out dictator, or you know what I mean? You're being too forceful on this. And kind of that's it. I think where I would love to see 50 Best grow a pair is they know who's cheating. They know who's they've 100%. They can see the votes.
But what do you see as cheating? Like I don't actually know.
I mathematically proved it during COVID.
Okay, break it down.
COVID, nobody could travel. I did for 2 years. I did an analysis of 50 best, and I said this is all maths. People are, if people can't travel, and the new regulations came for 50 best is that you can vote for up to 5 people within your own. Because there's like rules involved. You can only vote for so many people within your own market, and you have to vote internationally. During COVID, nobody could travel. There was a global travel ban. So now the 50 best will reflect pure maths. So all the voters had to vote within their own market, and very few of them got to travel. Very few of them chose to travel even if they could because of like just ethics. So you could essentially, the list became more honest for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things that happened was Hong Kong. So Lorenzo Antinori, Bar Leone, second best bar in the world, the world's highest climber, opened a bar within 1 year, number 2. Interestingly enough, Asian bloc, Italian bloc. But he used to be in charge of a bar called Argo. I think it was called Argo.
Yeah, it rings a bell, Argo.
Right? Yeah. And during 50 best, it became like number 18 in the world.
Yeah.
Hong Kong had some of the hardest travel bans globally. You had to spend 3 weeks in a hotel to get into the country. How the fuck does a bar go 18th best bar in the world? I think it's 18th, I'm not sure. Anywhere in the top 50. Either Hong Kong has a disproportionate amount of voters, or he's getting voted by people who've never been to a
And
bar.
who are the voters?
Well, the voters get picked by the local regional chairs, and they're based on market. So there's some amount of voters in Spain.
But they're industry people, right? They're limited numbers of
We
industry
wouldn't know.
people. We just don't know.
We don't know. They have, as much as they say that it's 50-50 men and women, and at the end of the day, they're not transparent. They used to be transparent. They're not transparent anymore. So you could say that they're the most virtue signally voters in the world, but there's no way to prove it. So it's just a statement they put out. You wouldn't know. The voters are private, like Michelin style. So where I got into hot water with 50 best is I said, there's no fucking way a bar from Hong Kong with some of the world's travel restrictions can get so many votes that they are in the top 50. Either there is a disproportionate amount of voters based out of Hong Kong, or this is bullshit. Someone is voting for this person having never been there.
Yeah.
And I got shit in the DMs from certain people. And at the same time, I got like 60, 70 different people from Hong Kong, bar owners, going, please keep this anonymous. But yeah, this is fucking rigged.
Yeah.
And it's not even the local chair's fault, for example. They're just doing a job. It's the system. It's not about the person representing the area.
Yeah.
And that the system has been played. So we know that's happening. And here's a very clear example of it going on. And so it's still going on nowadays. It's just nowadays you can't track it as much because the world is open. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of that, you know?
Yeah. But yeah, Jesus Christ, calm down. But yeah, I've definitely heard, like from many people in the industry that like they kind of know when 50 best judges come in, and they also kind of know when they've been voted for by someone, but they know that they've actually never been to the bar, but they've chatted on Instagram or whatever, and it's just like, okay, it all sounds a bit broy.
The chair of 50 Best Italy blamed me for being fired because he was caught going to bars and offering them 50 Best if they hired his PR company.
Well,
I had a bar owner from Milan call me saying he came in and said, if you hire us as your PR company, you'll get into 50 Best, which is bullshit, and that can be put on paper. And the owner of that PR company was the chair of 50 Best at the time.
Yeah.
And so during the 2 years of me using maths.
Yeah. The 2 years of me using maths.
Crazy.
My maths period.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Arithmetic. He didn't, and then he went around, and I have friends who I trust call me saying he's going around saying that I'm the reason he got fired.
Yeah.
If you got caught doing that and they decided to actually act upon it, you've been doing it way too blatantly.
Yeah.
I don't think I have that power. People overvalue Instagram or influencers. I can raise I've spoken about drug abuse a million times. I've spoken about 50 Best a million times. It's not in their benefit to go against 50 Best, so nothing's going to change. But I guess you were way too blatant and open about your business that even 50 Best decided to act.
Yeah,
And
because actually they've made the system. No, I say they, like no one's really made this. The system kind of organically, sort of appears out of a lot of communities, or people acting like people do, and then the system appears, and it's actually quite easy to cheat. So if you're like cheating and being caught for it and being called out, it's like, yeah, you went too far. I mean, you found the line.
Here's an Instagram reel that's going to go do very well if we cut it.
Okay, let's go.
The dumbest thing that 50 Best ever did was to make their voters anonymous.
Yeah.
Here's why. And the person who did it, Hamish, is going to... We've argued about this forever. Cut that bit out. That's not interesting. But the next bit is good. Before, every single year, they used to post a magazine that had every single voter for 50 Best listed. So the 50 Best list kind of reflected the voters. And you could see it. One year in 2016, they added another 100 American voters, 18 new American bars on the 50 Best, uproar in the fucking rankings. But you can see it. It reflects each other. What started happening? People started selling their votes without selling their votes. People were like, hey, invite me to your bar, and here's how much that costs. Yeah. And then you were like, all right, this guy might vote for me because he's going to be exposed to my bar. So what do? To curb corruption, they made the list anonymous. Yeah. So what happens then? You're going to look at these other lists, these other awards. You're going to look at the people that are traveling, and you're going to go, hey, you want to come over? You want to come over to my bar? And they're like, maybe. They're like, well, how much does that cost? Well, like $3,000. Cool. Are you a 50 Best voter? If they're following the rules of 50 Best and you can't say you're a voter, you go, I can't say. Which is yes. Yeah. Or, no one's going to say, no.
Everyone's going to say, I can't say.
Yeah, everyone's going to say, I can't say, which is yes, but still following the rules. In other words, they made a system where you can be more corrupt by making it anonymous. Because they could even lie and say, yes, I am. How the fuck are you going to prove it? So their method of curbing corruption actually opened the floodgates to corruption. Yeah. And so nowadays you can abuse the system. If you travel enough, you can essentially convince the world that you're a 50 Best voter. Yeah. But there's no actual way to tell.
Mm-hmm. How would you change that?
Make it fucking public again.
Make it public.
Make it public. The first bar that gets caught cheating 50 Best and you have solid evidence, hang them up to dry. Mm-hmm.
But would you say make it public after, so make the judges anonymous until the event and then make them public after? Because I'm thinking, if you make it public and you publish a list like these are the 50 Best voters, aren't the bars then just going to contact that list and say, hey, and try and...
Which is what they were doing, but then it's very simple. You go, cool, we have decided to reverse our choice on 50 Best. All of the voters were published publicly after the list was published. So in the magazine that came out the day the list is released, that's when the voters were publicized. Yeah. But that does not guarantee re-enrollment as an Academy voter because they cycle 30% of the voters every year. Yeah. So in other words, this is last year's voters. You can choose to contact them. Yeah. But there's no guarantee that they're this year's voters. Does that make sense? Yeah. So there's an element of curbing that involved. Yeah. But what happens is that you simply you can't always say, don't be a dick. Sometimes you have to slap the hand. Mm-hmm. So, cool, based on our analysis, this year, the following bars have not met our standards of transparency and are not eligible to be voted on. 5 bars. 5 bars that you knew were the biggest players in the corruption. For this 12 months, they are out of the list. They might actually get more...
They were 1 to 5 last year and not eligible.
No, yeah. But they might get actually more traffic as a result because once you're in 50 Best, you get traffic anyway. Yeah. But then the industry will go, I know what's happening. Yeah. And so then the next kind of achievement would be to be the bar that's rated the highest without getting blacklisted, or the bar that's never been blacklisted. That would be achievement in itself. But that would send a very clear message, and you will see a huge curb in this kind of behavior. Yeah. Or same as thing with individuals. you were actively seen soliciting money for votes. If there's like a screenshot or whatever, like it can be proven. Cool. This person is no longer a part of the 50 Best Academy, not because of cycling, but because of whatever. It's gonna suck. It's gonna hurt that person's career. It'll take one person to teach everyone a lesson.
Yeah.
And it's not nice, but it will really help with the system.
Yeah, and look, it's the audience is the audience, right? So you're not going further back than square one. You're just going back to square one. You know, like the people who don't know anything about 50 Best are still they still exist in the world. It's not like you don't get destroyed for life. It
will never happen.
It's just that inner circle.
It will never happen. The system just benefits everyone. This is it's me, my wishful thinking, because now everyone gets paid. Everyone has an agency. Everyone is part of these lists. Everyone is business classing it and whatever. You know, I've managed to finally pull off a business class flight this year. It's great. Big fan.
Yeah.
Did not expect it to happen, but a really good win when it did.
Yeah.
And so why I would be considered rocking the boat at this point. Right? And that's where I think my downfall would be too much of an idealistic view on these things.
Yeah. You can have something to aim for. If we solve that problem, let's say we solve that, okay, done. Everything's fair now in terms of judging. How would you ever solve the fairness for regional differences? Because of course, if I have a bar in Barcelona, New York, London, the chances that a judge visiting my bar are so much higher than if I have one in Aberdeenshire. I might have the best bar in the world in Aberdeenshire, and no one's ever going to know about it because no judge will ever make it out there.
And
solution?
Well, stop trying to solve all the world's problems. There's an element of sugar, raw sugar at the bottom.
We'll see. You told us to make a mojito. You gave us no specs, and you said don't fuck up the mojito. So we'll see.
This is the same guy who praises UK hospitality. Did you put raw sugar in your UK hospitality mojitos?
If it's light on mint, I've got some.
Orbit. Orbit to freshen your mouth when you want to shag after work.
Yeah.
This is an unsponsored product placement in our podcast.
What were we talking about? Oh yeah. Regional differences.
Okay, well here's the thing, right? And this is in support of awards companies, including 50 Best. It's not 50 Best or any other organization's fucking job to fix the world.
No.
Right? Whether you fucking like it or not, some cities being capitals for whatever reason or their politics or whatever, we are a reflection of the world. We are not the superheroes. This idea that we are meant to be fixing shit in the communities and systems is crap. If we unionize and we finally start talking to each other and we finally become a real organization, sure, we can make a difference. But nowadays, you know, this virtue signaling bars talking about plastic straws or paper straws or this and the other, you're a drop in the ocean. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, but have a reality check, right? Just because a brand like Kettle One sustainably pushed you into 50 million press releases doesn't mean you're actually fucking relevant. Like, you're a bartender, not a mixologist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing with the regionals. Location.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't change it. Yes, there's no reason for them to travel. And the bars that are in shitty locations have to disproportionately work harder in order to get that attention.
Yeah.
A good example of that is Alquimico in Colombia. There's no head offices in Colombia. It's not a big market. It's not famous for its alcohol consumption. It's not the drug they usually peddle. And yet the trip that Alquimico, that John has created to Colombia, I believe I love it. It's the best bar trip in the world.
Yeah.
You spend 3 days in Cartagena and you spend 4 days on his farm, which is another like 2-hour flight in coffee country with no signal, no Wi-Fi at all, living on his farm, where you're the most connected and disconnected at the same time you've been in your life.
Yeah.
And
present.
And he doesn't pay for you to come there. He probably paid for the first couple of people that came there, and then he gave them that Carlsberg advert, the best trip in the world. and now everyone will go for free because they're disconnected for 7 days, and they get to actually enjoy life. They're going back to that core memory, that child thing, and that word of mouth marketing speaks for itself. And yeah, that's kind of it. You won't change the regional stuff.
Yeah.
But if you want to play the game, like, play the game.
Yeah.
No
I think
one's-
you can a bit, though. I mean, Michelin does a little bit like in that regard, right? I mean, you get Michelin stars in some random places. Definitely in Scotland, you know, like in Scotland, you get some Michelin stars. There's probably some in Aberdeen. There's certainly some in Glasgow and Edinburgh. There's some in Speyside. There's you know, so they've kind of solved it a little bit, but their thing was always about the travel anyway. The whole point of a Michelin star originally was that 1 star meant that you would drive 10 minutes or whatever it was. 2 stars was 30, and
Michelin is funded by the local tourism board.
yeah.
So you to have a Michelin office, the local government will give money to them to have a board and have inspectors. Actually, the only reason that 50 Best came to Madrid and 50 Best came to Barcelona, here in Barcelona, the local government gave them like 250K or something to be here. And that probably went towards organizing the event itself. That was like facilitated by Francesca Scola from the local distribution company.
Yeah.
And
Giacomo
then
was involved as well.
yeah, they were all involved.
They were all in there.
And then the following year we had like Barcelona Bar Show, whatever the fuck. And that was actually just the government going, well, we have all this money allocated to this, but 50 Best isn't coming back. And then they all kind of just like high-fived each other and made some cash.
Yeah.
But that's 50 Best new, you know, I guess they follow the 50 Best restaurants, and I guess it's a similar business model, get government money. Governments are generally, you know, useless anyway. So, and it's not a bad deal. So maybe if 50 Best grows to those proportions, they might have more regional representation. The rumor is that 50 Best Europe is coming this year. That's a rumor.
50 Best Europe.
Yeah, so we have North America, we have Asia, and Europe is coming.
Oh, yeah. 50 Best. Well, yeah, European bars are just 50 Best global, right?
Well, yeah, and so apparently there's enough money in Europe. You got to think about a GDP and size of market. Like 350 million people live in the US, world's biggest economy. Give them their own 50 Best, collect the money.
Yeah.
Apparently, the reason it came into Mexico in that one specific town as opposed to Mexico City is because that specific town is home to a really big tequila company and family that has a lot of money. I wonder why. And they sponsored it. So just follow the money, man. So regionally speaking, if there's anything to say to not depress people who are trying to get in 50 Best from smaller markets, you are in a huge advantage because you're not being judged. Like if you're in Manchester or Liverpool or Edinburgh, you're not being judged compared to London. You're being judged based on your own merit. So if you're doing something that's head and shoulders above what the market is doing, you already look amazing. I believe that there's an element of judging in 50 Best, which is in such a way that you want to help the little guy, that's what I mean? Like you're more likely to vote for someone from a smaller place.
Yeah.
I spoke about this with a bunch of people who I know who are judges in North America, because North America is Canada, Mexico, and USA.
Yeah.
And I spoke to a bunch of US judges, and they were all like, oh man, some of these bars that are like top 10 from Mexico are not actually that good. We have better bars in like New York and San Francisco and Chicago, whatever. I was like, all right, well, maybe the level's not that good. Did you vote for them? Oh yeah, of course we want to help the little guy out. Well, I'm like, well, if every single voter in North America does a pity vote, that pity vote's going to count for something.
Yeah.
You've all pity voted because you feel like we're Americans, we got to help Mexico because of the political spectrum and whatever.
Yeah.
But then when you look at the final product, turns out it's not even that great.
Yeah.
Is that a nice thing to say? No. But mathematically, it counts for something.
Yeah. And
I'm not saying that
the pity vote is low key racist, though. It's like you're basically saying like I'm gonna help you out. You're like,
but everybody
maybe
pity
don't
votes.
be so condescending, like, you know.
But everybody
let
pity
them
votes
compete.
because nobody thinks is that as like a. It is. I 100% agree.
Yeah.
In that situation, because of the political spectrum, it's super low key racist. But I when I thought about that, I realized that I tend to vote for bars in smaller markets to be the counterbalance of everybody voting for London.
Yeah.
Even
and a
though
lot of
they
people
might
doing
not
that.
be.
And maybe that's good. Maybe that's good.
And maybe that's the regional.
Like maybe the it's like it was good intentions, and then when you actually look at it deeply, it's like it's it skews things, but maybe it skews them in a good way. So it's like it swings backwards and forwards.
You'll never
at 3
know,
seconds,
and
you
there's
don't
no
know.
need to sit there and psychoanalyze it and say
it
this.
is what it is.
If 70% of the voters give a pity vote, but it actually helps the local bar community out, are we moving the needle forward? You know what I mean?
What's your opinion on the New York bar scene?
Oh God, I think that
Compared to Europe, maybe if you compare it to Europe, because I think it's very different.
100%. They're so different. I think that New York is an animal in itself. New York is almost like a country in itself, like London is a country in itself in the UK. Different people, even different boroughs in New York have different requirements. I think that considering that it's kind of like the home of cocktails, the origin, this is patient zero.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, they live in their own kind of world. I'm doing a post about this podcast that came out from VinePair. They did a podcast where recently, like last year, about 3 months ago, where they were like, the world is 10 years behind American bartending. Exactly.
And Europe was like, oh, okay, dude, are you sure about that?
Well, everyone in Europe is, because this is...
Did you make that decision without leaving your chair? Because...
if you want to get angry, listen to that podcast. I had to like take 3 weeks out, be like, I'm going to get canceled for the shit I want to say to them. Because the sheer level of utter crap that was spoken in that podcast is insane to me. But I don't sit there and go, they're doing it intentionally. I always think of it as like, okay, you don't know any better. You've literally believe in this. So
it's like the famous trope about Americans not understanding geography. Like they don't know where they don't know that like Asia isn't a country or whatever.
I'll give you some of the points, because I'm doing a whole like carousel about this, kind of like the David Wondrich one, like breaking it down. One of the guys, I don't care who's on it, I don't care who leads it. One of the guys on the podcast goes, I went to Panda and Sons in Edinburgh on a brand trip, and it's like one of these places, like all these tourists are in there, whatever. I'm like, dude, trust me, no one's doing cocktail tourism to Edinburgh. And Panda and Sons is full of locals. Like, what are you talking about? You're probably on a brand trip. This is the stupidity of industry journalists.
If there's any tourists in Panda and Sons, for Panda and Sons, it's bartenders.
Exactly.
That's it.
Don't get me wrong, they probably get some tourism for 50 Best, but for the statement to be made that it's all tourists, you were clearly not paying attention to the crowd when you were in there on your brand industry trip. Like these journalists, again, this is only benefiting me because I can do real journalism and then I get all the brand money. But I've been on a brand trip before with like 10 journalists, and they are so stupid. Like they're so disconnected from reality. They are the worst. I hate them. I now ask if there's other journalists on the trip, and if it's a brand trip, I like a journalist PR trip, or I refuse to go because I want to punch them all in the face. They are so entitled because they only stay in 5 stars. They only get this stuff. They completely have no idea how the world works.
So what was he saying about Panda and Sons?
So he basically said that it's all tourists. There's no locals in there, which is stupid. Then he said something about
That's not true anywhere in Scotland. If you go into Scotland, there's no bar surviving on tourism.
Then he said that the reason that bars in London and Singapore are on these lists is because of, and I quote, you can see, these oligarchs go to these venues and spend loads of money. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
He thinks Europe is Russia.
Well, it's madness. I'm like, you're bringing in like American politics into 50 Best voting for cocktail bars. You've really pulled like some bullshit out of the sky and try to pin it to this. It's like ridiculous. Then he couldn't even remember the name of Bar Nouveau in Paris, Remy's new bar, which if you're gonna make a statement, at least remember the bar name. He remembered, there's a bar in Paris. I'm gonna do the American voice. There's a bar in Paris that's all about like Nouveau art movement. It's so conceptual and bullshit. Bars in New York were all like about the person, about ourselves. And then he even got called out by his own podcaster saying, well, isn't Super Bueno like very like thematic? And isn't Double Chicken, please, very thematic? Well, no, but like the owner's this person and it's all about their personality. if you had any fucking clue, you would realize that Remy is into art. That's his entire fucking motto of all his bars.
And he doesn't really make it all about himself, I don't feel
No,
like,
but
you know?
but the point is, if you're going to go down the path of this bar is about their personality,
Yeah.
Bar Nouveau is exactly that. It's about Remy's love for art.
Yeah.
And yet you've decided to shit on it on this podcast, which has a platform in America.
Yeah, I know Vine has.
For the sake of shitting on a bar from not America.
Yeah.
Because the whole podcast started with, like, we have more bars pound for pound than anywhere else in the world. Well, I'm sorry, motherfuckers. Hamburgers were invented in Hamburg, and yet you've made burgers better.
Yeah.
So
But
maybe...
it's the classic American thing. I mean, first of all, like shitting on like Panda and Sons for not having substance and being full of tourists is like the worst bar you could choose. I mean, like what they do at Panda and Sons is like it has intrinsic value. There's no doubt in that. They are doing shit with freezing that no one else has even thought about doing. And yes, some of it will go in the trash, but that's how progression works, right? Like you do 10 things and 9 of them turn out shit, and 1 of them changes the world or changes the industry or changes something, you know? And that's how you move forward. So like, and yeah, you just like half of the shit that we do in Europe, they can't even do in America because they're not allowed to use rotovaps. They're not allowed to use like a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Or they just don't want to go that way because they see this classic cocktail as their heritage or their signature of some kind. I mean, but history, you know, this is me getting like very English and a bit like, I suppose like, I suppose I just like to poke the bear sometimes because I will give them the cocktail. I will give them that. Historically,
Who gives a fuck?
Absolutely. Have the cocktail, guys. But you know where you got the cocktail? You got the cocktail from punch. It comes from somewhere, right? Like
Which is India, which is
English colonists in India who bring it back to England. Eventually it gets from a big bowl to a small glass, and then you turn it from 5 ingredients to a bunch of different things. But like
if your only argument is your life experience, you've already lost the argument. The moment you say, I've got 30 years in this industry or I've got 170 years of history of the cocktail, you've lost the argument for me. This is the one thing that I think is underrated about English culture, which I am so happy that I learned to bartend in the UK. The school of UK bartending is based on like quality to some extent, right? I'm not talking about the average bar. I'm talking about, is this a better way to clean the lines? Is this you can almost go into like, this is why bar rescue in the UK would be like would actually work to some extent, because is this a better way of doing things? Yes. Is it a more efficient? Makes me happier. No one's gonna like argue against it. Cool, let's do it. Boom, we change, right? And in the UK, that's the thing. Like, yeah, problems still exist like anywhere else, but the school of UK bartending is this a faster way? Is this the correct way? Whatever. A GM will be more respected by a bar manager, a head bartender will be more respected by their workers if they can prove them wrong and they understand it. It's actually better for everyone and they agree with it. And no one will then look down on the owner or the bar manager, head bartender for doing so. If there's a better way of doing it, we do it. That's it. We switch tomorrow.
100%. I've been saying that for a long time. Like, can you do it better? Then do it better.
Yeah, cool.
Simple as that.
We'll amend the system.
Yeah.
And when you get into that mindset in life, you will inherently progress faster because your ego is irrelevant. You can still have an ego, but it's irrelevant at this point. And this is where other cultures, I guess, kind of suffer to an extent. And this is where America, with regards to this particular podcast, with these particular people, fucked up, because their opening statement was, the rest of the world is 10 years behind the US. Yeah. Where my immediate slapback is like, well, that would indicate that you would be doing what we're doing in the rest of the world 10 years ago, which you weren't, and you aren't even now. Your biggest revolution came with Sasha Petraske, with Milk and Honey and Angel Share. Angel Share wasn't even fucking American. It was Japanese people doing it. So, and Sasha Petraske just remade what you made 100 years ago. So your last real, like, kind of contribution to the world cocktail culture was 1920s and 40 years before that. We thank you for it, but we've moved on. So maybe, like, welcome to reality. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And let's see how that post goes.
No, but you're right. You should absolutely post that, and I think that's
coming soon.
I think you said it well. Then you said we thank you for it, but we've moved on. It's like, and I think it'll be difficult, probably impossible for most American bartenders, especially influential ones, to accept that maybe, and they'll probably just shout over it if we say like, guys, we're doing like really cool shit here actually, and some of it is fluff. But some of it is actually really valuable and cool and better.
Well, I'm not approaching it in such a negative way. Like I'm.
You should.
I am, but I'm wrapping it in a fluffy blanket. So
yeah.
The way I've designed the post is it's going to go online in like 6 days or something. And one of the things I said was like, I don't know if you know Jon Stewart, the Daily Show political commentator. Because this guy opened the floodgates to oligarchs and all this shit, I decided to use clips from his show. Because Americans kind of respect Americans more. They don't respect if you're not American. So there's a show he went on 20 years ago where he goes, "You're hurting America." And I'm just using that clips going like, this, I'm not saying your statement is wrong because chances are a lot of American bartenders believe in it. But this statement is inherently hurting American bartending because essentially what you're saying is American traditions are key. No other innovation is correct. This is all wrong. Which how many then possible you're stifling progression in any form that it could take. And this is the thing with the US. I've been traveling to it a lot more the last 2 years. I find it infinitely inspiring. Every state is different. It's fucking sick. Like for me, Arizona and Phoenix specifically is some of the coolest bars I've been to in such a long time. But all of those bars fall under the same negative banner as what he's complaining about the rest of the world. So they're going to turn around now and feel like we're wrong, right? Simply because of possibly this podcast, and that's gonna make them feel shitty. And the whole point of the bar community is that we're kind of like, we help each other out, and we're you can be a bartender in a 5-star hotel or in a shitty dive bar. But when you go into a venue and you see that they're struggling, you could end up clearing some glasses and helping them out, and no one's going to look down on you. That's the whole point, right? And so that's how I'm wrapping it. I'm like, guys, don't be dicks. Here's a million reasons why you're full of shit, and I think you're just on edge because Trump won.
Yeah. Well, it's very linear thinking, isn't it? It's just like, they're doing this, we're doing this. Who's better? One of us has to be better, and we're
Americans, number one.
So it's definitely us.
World champion.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, that leads us into I liked your David Wondrick rebuttal.
I got some DMs about that.
Yeah. A few.
I got an email.
Yeah.
From Angus Winchester.
From Angus?
Yeah, it's a fucking long ass email.
Yeah.
Like a novel.
No, backing you up or
no. He's.
I thought you were very calm. You didn't say shit really.
No.
This is where I disagree and this is where I agree. This is fine. This is what we should be able to do.
No, Angus was cool. I think he just wanted to. It felt like more a conversation you would have at a bar that would lead to like a discussion like this, kind of like a mini podcast. He was fine. But I guess that's the difference between having a conversation on site versus you have time to put together an email with references and whatever.
Yeah.
The David Wondrich thing is like, for those that are that are gonna be listening to this, it's an interesting conversation that he's having, and a lot of people again went black and white about it.
Yeah.
Old man shouting at clouds was the biggest one I saw, which I thought was hilarious.
That's pretty funny. I don't agree with it, but it's funny.
But it's hilarious. It's super funny.
Yeah. It's like if I was the old man and I said something and someone said that to me, I'd be like, oh. I got nothing for you. That's cool.
It was so good. Yeah. But it's one of these moments where I think this is what I love about my page in the comment section, because I don't even need to reply to stuff. The comment section kind of admins itself.
Yeah.
And somebody commented, was like, didn't he do an interview where he said the only reason he started writing about cocktails is so that he could get a good Manhattan in New York?
Yeah.
Right?
That rings a bell.
Right? And so I'm like,
because he was just was he like a New York Times writer or
Yeah,
something
it was just
before, and he did like a one cocktail like column, and then it was just like, oh, you should do more of those. And he's like, cool,
Yeah,
I'll do that.
and-
Free cocktails in it. So
it's hilarious because if that was the initial kind of like goal, mission fucking success.
Yeah.
The world is exploded with drinks, and you can probably get a good Manhattan in most places, and
yeah,
you know that's really a thing. So for now to be pissed off with the 1% of the 1% using modernist techniques or weird ingredients, like, dude, go get a cocktail somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, I wonder how much as well that he's actually how much he's actually talking about America versus Europe as well, because I think he's in America most of the time. I know he travels a bit, but I think he spends most of his time in the US. So when he talks about modernist cocktails and all these like crazy ingredients that he's talking about, I kind of thought when I was reading his article, I'm like, I wonder what you're talking about there, because if you come to London or Barcelona or something, it's 10 times worse than you think it is. Like,
100%.
We're using air. There's fucking cloud. Like some drinks aren't even liquid anymore. They're like you have to fucking consume. They're like an emotion. You know, some of them
Like
you
community
just
when like this is a vodka soda.
some of them you like you drank it and you didn't even know you had it. Like you just
No. I think that I thought the article was actually very well written, and if you reread it a couple of times, it's great. I think it's just and I like those kind of pieces because it creates discussion. You can see
It's provocative, and things should be provocative.
Well, it definitely was a lot deeper than most people gave it. Like you know, like honestly, if you genuinely reread the article now and then you come back in 10 days, you might even have a new opinion on it, which is almost like a good book. You find new things with it as you read it more.
Yeah.
With and to be honest, in the age of fast, like there's fast fashion, but there's fast social.
Yeah.
Get it out now, get it out fast, say a provocative thing, get the clicks and likes. That's an example of a slow piece of work. Oh, we're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he's like looking over. You want us to suck closer to the, yeah. But the point with it is that that's why it did so well, because it was well thought out, it was carefully curated, and the article itself is almost like a chapter in a book. And to be honest, quality will always trump quantity, you know, with regards, which is most of Punch's shit is just regurgitated bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why it had such a good response. Probably is going to get awarded a Tales fucking piece of the year, because that's just how Tales works. There's only like 5 nominations anyway. But when it comes to the subject matter, I think that the other element of it is that how many people. That's why I felt confident enough to post about it, because of currently most of my life is done on the road. I spent in the last 2 years I spent 170 to 174 days on the road, which is extreme by any standard.
Yeah.
So I felt confident enough to make a post about it, to discuss it, because I'm currently in a position when I can do so.
Yeah.
Maybe and that's when I felt like I should comment, because everyone who's reading something on a screen is reading it and interpreting it to their reality wherever they are in the world. This is where the disconnect between social media. Whilst David Wondrich is again writing it based on his reality where he is. And so some bartender could be reading that in Hong Kong and being like, oh, he's shitting on all the stuff that I find exciting. And this is my icon. This is the person whose books I have.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I got to change my ways, or I'm actually just completely feel like I've been shat on by my person I'm looking up to.
Yeah.
So, but here's an alternative way of thinking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think you know, he said, you know, like I would say, like if I was going to fall on rude. If I was going to
No. He'll cut me out. I just wanted to fuck with that. I can see him like pointing from the monitor.
No, he's fine. Don't worry about him.
We don't pay him.
Yeah. They're all interns. Yeah, no. I'd say like if I was going to fall on one side, like I would say for the most part, I disagree with his overall premise, but I think he said some valuable things, and it teaches you something about perspective and where people are coming from, and I think like, look, he's a cocktail historian, so not only does he have like, you know, like his own long history in the business, but he's also drawing on hundreds of years because this is where he gets deep. You know, there's no one more deep in cocktail history than David Wondrich. I mean, maybe there's some geeky bartender out there that's gone even further. But
There's a Reddit thread.
Yeah. Most people are not more nerdy and geeky and deep on cocktail history than David Wondrich. So he's looking at this from a historical perspective, and he probably really enjoyed that classic cocktail revolution that we had. That was perfect timing for him. It was like he hit his stride. He wrote some good articles. Then he became a cocktail historian. And just at that right time, he was the guy at the right place at the right time, just as the whole industry went, cool, we're going to revive all the classic cocktails. And he was like, this is amazing for me. I'm the guy then. Cool. And then like, we kind of did all of that, and we were like, "Yeah, we're out of books, Dave. Any more, Dave?" And then they're like, "No."
Is there any chapter of history you haven't fucking unraveled?
Have you anything more to unravel? And like, I think like like maybe the historians of the world might have been like, "No, that's it, guys. We just keep making these now." And the bartenders were like, "Nah, man, we're hungry, young. We want to fuck shit up. What is the tech industry bro thing? Like, move fast and break things. Like,
well, there's. I think we've reached kind of like bartending technological saturation at this point, right? There's no more real places to go.
Would you have said that a while ago though? Because I mean, we got like, I might have said 10 years ago, like if someone had asked me like, do you think people would be using Rotovap's in everyday life in 10 years' time? I would have said, probably not. It seems a bit much.
Well, no, it's not that. I mean, like, from a pure research perspective, from a sciencey perspective, we've kind of caught up with the food world. There's, at this point...
I'd say we'd caught up, yeah.
From simply a technological perspective, we have all the tools they have, and now the only value in it is to finally use them and make them more... mainstream, or make them more, like sous vide was rare 15 years ago. Now it's kind of mandatory, you know, and it's also gone from being a couple of K to $200, $100 off Amazon, So from that perspective, we've caught up. Usually then, we've got the tools. Now it's how good are we at using them? And that's an infinite cycle that never ends, because somebody's good, somebody's not good, whatever, that will never keep changing. We've kind of explored almost everything, aside from what Jan's doing with ice, and that's new. Fermentation will never cease. There's always something new to ferment.
Yeah.
And I think the most exciting thing I recently was looking into was perfume. There was a perfume seminar at Jameson event in Ireland, and they had an actual person working for a perfume company, and they approached cocktail making from a perfume standpoint, and they took a basic Jameson Black Barrel, and they created like 7 drinks from that, or 7 flavor pairings, and it was infinitely cooler than anything that I could have come up with. And that's when you have an ego and you think that you know everything. So there's still elements to explore to that, but if we really dive into them as an industry, we'll explore them very fast. Give it a year, 2 years, 3 years. So from that point, it becomes an element of a new era where it's not about the technique anymore, because that's obsolete. It's about execution, right? So everyone has a good camera now, but it's all about the storytelling.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And whilst anyone, you could have a 20 grand camera, but it doesn't mean you can make a blockbuster film. So, whilst beforehand equipment could have been a limitation, nowadays it's a standard. So that's kind of where we're at. And at the end of the day, somebody might know how to use a Rotovap, but can't balance a Manhattan. That's the argument for Dave. That's the argument for Satan's Whiskers. That's the argument for Happiness Forgets.
Yeah, for sure.
And that there's an art in that. And at the same time, there's a vice versa. Oh, cool. You can make a mojito, but do you have any idea how to use these other tools that are now become industry standard? There's no other way to get certain flavors without using certain tools. But it's not because you should, because you can. It's because what is the intention of the final goal? And that's where I think the conversation will lead. It will always go back to execution.
Yeah.
Are you just good at what you do? And there's a glass ceiling to that in terms of and this is like UK hospitality. He's like, "Are you fast?
Mm-hmm.
What? How good's your chat?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't really matter. You know, the drink doesn't matter if all of this is great.
Yeah.
But if all of this is okay, but then you've got a shit drink, then the drink also really fucking matters.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
someone had a good quote about it. It's like, I think it's one of you fucking influencers on Instagram. But you know, he said, yeah, like he talks about restaurants and bars, but like no one will ever really care about a mediocre meal if the service and hospitality and the rest of the experience was great.
Yeah.
But if your meal is great, but the hospitality and the service and the experience was subpar, they will remember and they'll never come back.
Absolutely.
But they'll give you 5 chances to make a better meal if your hospitality is amazing.
yeah, of course,
You know,
of course.
So, yeah.
You're gonna bring us some water. Very nice. Oh, look at this. My wife.
Thank you, sir. My wife.
He's getting divorced, eh?
Who is?
Yeah.
From like the real what's his fucking name?
Sacha
Baron Cohen.
Yeah, he's getting divorced apparently, and she's talking
Isn't
shit.
he to Isla? He's Isla Fisher.
Isla Fisher's divorcing him, and she's talked shit about him. And the meme is, open bracket, sorrowfully, close bracket, my wife.
My wife. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, maybe they'll edit that bit out.
Continuity.
So yeah, the way I think about like to bring it back to sort of like the one drink scenario. I don't know if you could call it a scenario, but yeah, I think about it in terms of like, well, like anything, right? Like it's like there's bubbles and then there's intrinsic value, and you know, it's like markets. If you follow anything about stock markets, like you get like your fads, your
crypto bro.
yeah, you get crypto, which is like, you know, like at some point that bubble has to pop unless it really does have intrinsic value in it. Like maybe it'll never pop, but that means that it's got intrinsic value. Maybe the intrinsic value is that drug dealers can use it and not
To
be
launder
detected,
money.
and that's fine. That just means it has got intrinsic value, and it's not like a Beanie Baby. This is like the famous thing. The Beanie Babies were like a fucking thing that everybody collected, and then they got ridiculously expensive, and then they crashed to nothing, and all these people who spent
Like
hundreds
Stanley
of
Cups
them lost
and
all their money. And it's like, you know, like, and for me, like, not to shit on anyone, but like literally a bubble. If we talk about those fucking Flavor Blaster bubble machines, like it's destined to like rise and fall because it doesn't add that, you know, adds theater, and maybe you could argue that theater is some part of value for the drink, but for me it doesn't add enough, and it's not going to stick around. And maybe like smoke as well. People were doing smoke. It's like, yes, it's theater. There's lots of smoke in the room, and that was cool. That had a period, but it's not around anymore as much anyway. Maybe there's a few bars still doing it.
The funny thing is that you know the Flavor Blasters from Newcastle.
I knew it was UK. I didn't know Newcastle.
It's Newcastle. The guy's name is Colin. We had a call with him.
Colin, Flavor Blaster.
Yeah, exactly. And he's absolutely that. And we had a call with him a while ago, and he was like, "I want to do like a Dragon's Den style, like comp where you can come in and pitch an idea, and then he would possibly make it." And the funny thing is, at the time, a Flavor Blaster was like $200.
Yeah.
And I remember getting a DM from a friend from Rome saying, "Hey, do you have Simone's alternative Flavor Blaster flavor, like bubble, like recipe?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, you know how like Simone he's like a face of Flavor Blaster, and he launched it." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, but it's too expensive for the bubble liquid." So he made like an alternative one, and that's the one he uses because it's too expensive to buy that shit. And it's like part of the bubble. Like he's repping this product, but in all his presentation and Getch, he's like, "Yeah, don't buy that shit. Just make this. We're gonna use it instead." No, but it's there's,
you know what, like I mean, this is very esoteric, but like, you know, the moment that the bubble popped for me on something like the Flavor Blaster, and this is really just an analogy for all of the things that David Wondrich is right about. Is like, I remember seeing like some poor girl doing table service in a, you know, your TGI Fridays rip-off type bar where it's not like a high-end bar. You can tell that the bar staff there haven't gone through much training. It's like, this is the till, there are the bottles. And she's walking over to a table with a tray and a Flavor Blaster in hand. And I'm there with my team from Speaking Code, who are all very well trained, very
deep in the industry, and we're looking at this poor girl, and we're like, oh no, this poor girl's like, you know, she's got like a 80% chance of failure here, and she puts the fucking drinks down on the table, and then she tries to get a bubble going, and and it pops immediately, and then she tries again. She's like, "Oh, sorry, guys." And you've got these two, like a guy and a girl, clearly on a date of some kind, and and she's trying and failing at theater, and I'm like, yeah, you. If you're going to bring theater into it, you need to nail it first time, or don't even try. It's like the old flair thing.
The moment it pops, you're fucked.
Yeah. Don't practice flair while there's customers in the bar.
Don't drop
it's
the
the
bottle.
same with a flavor blaster or whatever thing that you're trying to do.
And here's the thing, you know, this is where I think that in the same way that David Wondrich is an old man shouting at clouds, someone's going to hear this podcast in 5 years, 10 years from now and go, it's old men shouting at clouds. Like, we need to understand that we have a time and place.
Yeah.
We're going to have our cocktail revival like he has, and we should be retired in our own time and place. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's by accepting in advance that sooner or later my award that I'm clinging onto for the last 12 months because of Tails is going to become irrelevant, or whatever, my resume will no longer be interesting or cool, gives me more solace as opposed to anxiety, right? And that's kind of like the way I view it, and it makes me much more comfortable and makes me much more okay with it. And it's the same thing that I think is going to help people a lot of kind of deal with that element, because at the end of the day, everything moves on. Like the trends will move on. They might even become cyclical. You know, he's probably, you know, old enough to see a couple of trends come and go. So for him, it's not even cool anymore. And maybe the same trend pieces will come back every 5 years. And he's like, again, guys.
Yeah.
We had the smoking gun. Now we have the Rotovap. Now we have the sous vide. Now we have the Koji fermented.
In 2060, we'll have the smoking gun again.
Exactly.
Oh, you're smoking drinks now, and you and me will be 90, like going,
right.
Yeah, we did smoking gun already, guys.
And that's the whole thing, like 5 times.
Yeah.
But there's it's one of these moments where kind of like, you know, your position in it, hang out with the people that make you happy when you want to be a grumpy old motherfucker about it. And then, like I said earlier on, tap into the young energy if you can. Yeah. Don't be Buscemi, hey kids, you know, with a skateboard, but you know the meme, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, enjoy every moment of your journey, right? Yeah. And so the best thing you can do when you look at it this way is, you know, what legacy are you gonna leave? And you don't have there's no responsibility to leave a fucking legacy. Like, honestly, what the fuck are you talking about? Genghis fucking Khan, you know? But if you have any thoughts of that, every single one of us has influenced other people in our lives one way or another. If those of us who need that affirmation of validation, let's take European bartending school. How many people they've trained? How many people have come out of this and have gone on to do good things? How many people might just be better drinkers and are more informed about the cocktails they order and the brands they use, you know? Yep. All of that is great. And an amount of clicks, likes, or seminar holders is not any way less or more demeaning or bigger or worth than a personal training course for a month at EBS, you know? Yeah. So that's, you know, now in the information age, there's so much oversaturation of everything everywhere all at once, right? Yeah. Oh, minimalism is good, or maximalism is good, or this is good, or that is good, or block ice sucks because they're making memes about it, but you know, fermentation sucks, or smoking guns are good, but flavor blaster is bad. You know, like it's just you know, there's this whole again, fucking itchy nose, Jesus Christ. There's this old argument that was made 70 years ago, which was Orwell versus Hunter S. Thompson. And Orwell said that all our information will be spoon-fed to us in controlled authoritarian regime. We would only have like 5 haircuts, 1 TV channel. Yeah. Welcome to Eastern Europe. And Hunter S. Thompson said that we'll be distracted. Yeah. Right. We'll have too much shit going on that we won't see the truth. Both of them are talking about truth. I think Hunter S. Thompson won that argument 100%, down the line. And I think nowadays that the moment you wake up, you have 1 million things hitting you at the same time, and you don't know how to make an informed decision.
Yeah.
So,
although there is some stuff in 1984 that's wild, like how predictive it was of what's happening now.
well,
But
Simpsons.
it's a long book, so yeah.
Dude, Simpsons, come
I think
on.
that's the thing, right? You get like these things where like, look, Simpsons predicted this, so this was in 1984, and I'm like, yeah, it's a long book. Simpsons
Black
did
Mirror.
17,000 episodes. Yeah, Black Mirror is like, yeah, I mean that's
because it's closer.
that's closer, yeah.
But also, like, some of the shit that they did for it to happen only 5 years later makes me go,
yeah, what
somebody
did
get
you know?
inspired by that shit? Like, oh, we can abuse humanity like this.
Yeah. Because Black Mirror is also like Black Mirror is good. We're going on a tangent here, but Black Mirror is good because it's dangerously close to reality and everyone can see it happening. Like I don't know, people on treadmills powering the world with fucking. Like,
But that
like,
might be the best wake-up call.
maybe that is like where we're going. Like that's really close to where we are.
But that's-
Or, yeah,
look at-
people taking pictures of you and rating you like just as a person. You're like, yeah, we're really fucking close to that.
Well,
actually.
did you see that film, Idiocracy?
Yeah,
Which is-
that's like a old classic.
Old
It's
classic,
late
20 years ago,
90s,
but
isn't it?
look at fucking politics in the world's biggest economy right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, which, in a fun, completely off tangent, but really fun fact, in Idiocracy, the shoes they're wearing is Crocs.
Yeah, I do know that.
You know the fact?
Yeah.
And the reason that they picked them, because they thought,
They look fucking stupid,
They're
yeah.
so stupid.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way anybody this would not be a fashion brand. These are so dumb.
Yeah,
And nowadays, Crocs can go for like $200
yeah.
because they're like limited edition Tyson Crocs.
Yeah. You ever heard of a show called Nathan Barley?
No.
It's all free on YouTube because it's fucking ancient. Just watch it. We
yeah?
can edit that bit out as well because that's just me. But that's like on the same vein as Idiocracy. It's just like stupid shit, like predicting the future, basically.
show.
Like,
All right.
so tell us about what we're drinking now. At least.
All right, we no, I have a reason why I picked every single drink.
Okay, well, we do all of them.
We do all of them.
Okay, let's do them.
Put it in your mouth.
Okay.
That also happened in the.
yeah.
That's why it took so long.
I won't let you say that to me again. One more time.
One more time. We're too similar in many aspects that
Yeah.
this is not or the best.
This was always going to go terribly
The-
or amazing.
The
We don't know
Army and
yet.
Navy is the first and
The
only.
Army and who?
Army
Namey?
Namey.
Army and Namey?
Namey.
Army and Namey?
Namey Campbell.
Yeah.
The Army and Navy, which is the drink we're having now, which
Yeah.
is actually the last drink of our 3 drinks, was the first and only drink I ever had in Milk and Honey in London.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. So when I first did my first ever trip to London, now old enough to drink, and of course, Milk and Honey was part of the pilgrimage, and it was like one of the first bars I went to, and you couldn't get in because it was a members
It's
club
like
in London.
2001 or something.
Well,
maybe
in London,
2000.
it closed in like 2015, 2016, it closed.
Opened, I'm talking about. It was like
Yeah.
2000 or something like that.
So for me, it was 2010 that I went to Milk and Honey, and I only got in because of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, because it was a members club. Yeah, you couldn't get in. And I'd never seen an Army and Navy before on a menu. And like a lot of people, I was already on the internet and trying to barrel age shit and whatever. So to see gin, orgeat, lemon, and angostura I was like, this is all right, cool. This is kind of a gin Mai Tai, is it?
Yeah.
And this drink came out, and I was like, this is insanely good.
It's such a good drink.
And so it's become a personal kind of like, it was my coming of age drink, let's just say.
yeah.
So the Army and Navy, that's why I liked it, because it's super, super duper simple. And when it's well balanced and not one piss later,
yeah.
it's
Ours are a bit warm now.
it's phenomenal.
But yeah.
The other drink that we had was a Singapore Sling.
Yep.
We kind of mentioned about it when it came out. The reason I like it is because it's the drink that everybody knows, that at the same time everybody needs their phone to get the specs right. It's one of these.
I mean, and even right is subjective.
Exactly.
No one really knows what the original recipe was, and I'm pretty sure it's one of those drinks where the bar that are famous for creating it, like famously make the worst version of it.
Exactly.
You go to raffles in Singapore, and apparently I've never been, but like everything I hear is like it's trash.
Exactly.
When you get there, it's absolute trash.
And that's why I'm, like I said earlier on, I was going to go to Singapore. Like, this is on my to-do list simply because it's kind of like, a coming of age thing. It's like, oh, cool, this is the bar that created it. Horrific.
You should do a video like forcibly teaching raffles in Singapore how to make the Singapore Sling.
How to get banned from a five-star.
You want to be provocative? That's the way.
And the last drink that we had, which was actually our middle child, which was the mojito. And I have a particular relationship with rum and specifically the mojito as a cocktail, and specifically old men shouting at clouds, is that I remember back in the day when I started bartending, they said that the Negroni was the bartender's handshake, right? It was like you order Negroni, if the bartender knows how to make it and they make you a good Negroni, that's like you letting each other know, not in America, but in Europe, like, oh, we know what we're talking about. Ironically speaking, the Negroni is a bullshit cocktail because it's just 3 parts over ice, essentially. So there's no real, there's no real skill. You just pour, the original was over ice, boom, orange or lemon zest or wedge, here you go.
Nail the dilution, but yeah.
And then it's, if you go to parts of Italy, questionable at best, and they invented it. There's
no
a lot
one's
of,
crediting the Italians for balance. That's why they had to come to London.
Well, this is where we do close a lot of doors about the American discussion, whatever. There's a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
So I remember that my TGI Fridays ripoff, the mojito was our #1 seller.
Yeah.
And then when I went to that nightclub that we went to, below it was a bar and restaurant. We had a mojito menu of 9 mojitos. So it's something I kind of grew up with. But I would argue that a mojito, ridiculous that it could have like raw sugar in it and then soda over crushed ice, is to make a good one is harder to make than a good Negroni. Like the moving parts and whatever.
Agreed.
So as much as we like to shit on a mojito as being like the drink that we hate to make, we don't have any mint, all these fucking memes, I would say asking to a modern bartender or even a classic bartender, both of those counterintuitive forces, to make a mojito, and if they make a good one, is a better litmus test of quality of your bartending skill than your knowledge of a classic or a sous vide.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of pitfalls with the mojito, right? Like, first pitfall is your displacement of crushed ice is so variable that when you get to the point where you put soda in the drink, if you're just aiming for wash line and not balance, you invariably will completely water down your drink. Because we're all taught, like, yeah, your wash line should be whatever, like one fingertip from
exactly.
the top
That's
or
always
whatever.
this.
So, yeah, if you make a mojito and it just happens to be because crushed ice was feeling saucy that day and it just wanted to tessellate well, that your wash line was like halfway up the glass, you're like, cool, that means today you're getting 80 mils of soda and yesterday you got 20 mils, so your drink is your drink. And it's like, yeah, well, that really changes the complexity of the drink. And then also, like, if you are using raw sugar, which I would argue probably don't bother using raw sugar, just dissolve your sugar, because it doesn't really dissolve well in rum or lime or anything else that you're putting in that drink, certainly not in cold. Anyway, but if you are using raw sugar, how do you dissolve all of that and make sure that it's sweet enough? And then as well, the major pitfall is, like, does your mojito actually taste like mint, or does it just look like it's got mint in it? Because quite a lot of the time, that's why I offered you chewing gum to go with your mojito.
Because you knew it was going to be
because I knew that 98% of mojitos don't really even taste like mint. That's why you put a big bunch of mint next to the straw. It's like, well, you'll be able to smell
they're rum sours with some aroma.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. So the first bar training I ever had was from Havana Club. It was the first brand ambassador that came up, and the only reason they came up all the way to Aberdeen was because our venue was going through Havana was our pouring rum, and we went through so much rum that we justified somebody coming up to do a training. It was the UK brand ambassador of the time, Mamie Sanchez. She then became global. Now she's left Havana in general. She's half Cuban, half Scottish, which is all of those things. The fact that she worked at Bramble for a while, which was
I just want to meet her parents. Like, it's like
there's a story.
Do you know whether it was Cuban mom or Cuban dad?
Cuban dad.
Cuban dad, Scottish mom. That makes more sense than the other way around.
But also, Cuban dad never left Cuba, and Cuban dad definitely didn't get to travel. So a Scottish person going to Cuba pre-9, like there's so many questions.
It makes sense that way. I can't see like a Scottish guy going and like pulling a Cuban girl
And then stealing the baby and bringing it back to Scotland.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on. Sorry.
That being said, though, so Mamie's amazing. For me, she was one of my core memories growing up because I remember she did the training. I remember I was mouthy at the training for whatever reason, and I remember her like sending me out of the training. It was my first like a young bartender getting corrected sort of thing. And we've since stayed in touch, and I see her every year at like some events, and it's one of those people that you'll always, in my mind, she's always going to be a senior sort of like mentor figure to me.
Yeah.
And although she's not front facing and active in the bar world in terms of like brand ambassadorship or whatever, but I will always like have that respect for her. And where am I going with this is the fact that that was my first relationship with like Havana Club, my first ever rum training. I actually participated in the Havana Club Grand Prix in 2012 and 2014. I ended up going to the finals in 2014. So it was my first rum distillery. So there's a lot of like core memories, formative memories there. But my favorite part is, I don't know if it's true, but I'll believe in the brand story and I'm gonna like go with it. Is that the mojito is funny because I went to the bar that created the mojito, the La Bodeguita del Medio, which is like the bar in the middle of the street. And we went there and they have, of course, they don't call it mint, they have Herba Buena, they have, it's only grows in Cuba, blah, blah, blah. But they actually, they do use raw white sugar or cane sugar, not sugar. But they will squeeze the limes, and of course, if you do know, lime is more melodramatic. It's very different around the world. But they have like fucking 100, 200 glasses beneath the bar counter where they've pre-squeezed the lime and sugar, and it's given its time to dissolve and blend. And they have the mint in there infusing.
Yeah.
So before you get your mojito, it's been in there for like 30, 40 minutes. So there's a lot more mint flavor. The sugar's actually dissolved. So all they really do is kind of pour a disproportionate amount of rum into the highball. And it's cubed ice. It's not crushed ice.
Yeah.
And from what I've been told, and maybe you've heard this before, is that the crushed ice mojito is a Ritz-Carlton invention in Havana prior to the Cuban Revolution.
No, I hadn't heard that. I do know that they serve it cubed ice in
with
Cuba.
some Angostura bitters on float.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. Yeah.
So I've been there, I've done it, I've had it. So here's where the Queen's Park Swizzle and the mojito kind of are interesting.
They combine.
So here is where it's cool. So the Ritz-Carlton story. The mojito that we know in the West is an invention of the Ritz-Carlton. When Prohibition was happening, and the Italian mafia pumped a shit ton of money into Havana prior to the Cuban Revolution, the Ritz-Carlton opened in Havana. And of course, all of the world's richest people and Westerners came to Cuba because it was the hot place to go. It was the Bali of its time.
Yeah.
At the time, there wasn't enough commercial refrigeration that was going on. And in Cuba and in the islands, you had to import your ice. Right, that's the Ice King from that used to like ship ice.
We're talking 1800s then.
No.
Early
It was still going on. It was still going on at that time, or it was cubed ice.
Frederick
but that
Tudor.
was like exactly. But it was not him specifically, but
one of
those things. And so the more ice you could put in your drink was the more of a baller you are. It was the Lambo of its time, the Grey Goose of its time. So the crush.
So block ice was pauper, like we're talking.
Well, so
Ritz-Carlton
Ritz-Carlton was looking around, and everyone's using machine ice with cubes. So we're gonna put crushed ice in our drink because then we can fill up the ice at the max. Because we're in a tropical island, that means we're even baller. We have the best mojito in the island because our one's over crushed ice. Of course, all these tourists come, they go to the Ritz, they see a crushed ice mojito, they export the idea of the crushed ice mojito. The rest of the island is only pouring cubes. Then we have what we know as the crushed ice mojito around the world, when in the original place, it's over cubed and very often with a dash of Angostura.
Yeah.
And when we went there, they explained this to us.
And not muddled or anything, right? It's not
No.
rustic. It's all, and it's not like limes and mint in the glass.
The muddling was, again, to show there's labor going into
Yeah.
it. So we have, our one is made fresh. It's not just standing there infusing. So it's like the showmanship and theater of the production of the thing was more important than the actual flavor of I analyze it from a flavor perspective.
Yeah.
So I love that story because it just shows how it's kind of early marketing, early perfect serve, and how something as silly as the Ritz-Carlton prior to the Instagram could influence a whole world of drinkers.
Yeah.
And there's no cool way to end this. I'm gonna.
No, but I actually like, and this is how we veer from the food industry sometimes, or from restaurants, because I did work in a bar. I can't remember where it was now. But,
You own a bar. I hope you worked in your own bar.
yeah, I did work. Yeah, a while ago, but yeah, I worked. No, I've never actually pulled a shift in my own bar.
That's
not
amazing.
once, yeah.
Can we do like your first ever guest? I'll
Guest
fly,
shift in my own bar.
I'll fly to your own bar to do a guest shift with you.
Fail miserably. I'd have to limit it to all of our pre-batches.
Can you
which
be
is
on the
nearly
floor?
Every drink. Yeah, I could be on the floor. Yeah. I could probably still do it.
No leg.
I do sometimes have a leg.
Oh, that was off camera.
Yeah, but
In the toilet, massive.
we have to edit that, surely. It was pretty impressive, though. But I did it for you.
No hands lean.
But yeah, I did temporarily work in a bar. I think it was just like because I used to do covers for bars sometimes. Like I did a bit of a circuit where I was looking after other people's bars, and I think I did like a few weeks at some place where we used to prep mojito. We did so many mojitos on a Friday, Saturday that we'd prep mojitos, and you'd have those Gibraltar glasses, like
The super like unkillable ones.
Yeah.
That was our
super
glasses.
unkillable.
That was their mojito glass.
You'd put everything in there because you could stack them. So not only would we pre-batch, we'd batch everything, and then another glass goes in top, batch that one.
And the only
we'd
problem
have, like,
was
rows. We make 200 at the start of a Friday night just to get us like off the ground, and then you'd still have to make some fresh like after the initial wave.
and if they come out too hot out of the dishwasher because the bottom was so thick, if you put too cold ice in them, the bottom would disconnect.
Oh really? No, I
Didn't have these problems.
You were buying
high
the
volume
cheap
bars
ones.
in Black Bull.
Yeah. You were buying the cheap
But
ones.
here's a question back to you because this is kind of like a one-sided. How the fuck did you end up owning a bar in Manchester? A, B, considering that you're not there. B, considering the fact that it's one of the most, I would say, important bars of it's like if Schofield's has the name, this is the bar that people actually respect in the community, and yet you're never there, and your business partner doesn't drink.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I do. That's a good question. I don't really know the answer. No, I do. I do know the answer. Yeah. Well, first of all, I am there. I would probably go once a month, which is not. It's not enough to be there. But I guess like I've learned from being in the industry a long enough time and going through manager roles like way early on, like too early than. Earlier than I should have been in manager roles, much like you. But I stuck it out for quite a long time, and then I joined DBS a while ago, and I kind of learned systems and people, and it's making sure you've got the right people to work with. So 100%, I would say like the first major way that I can do it and not be there a lot is because of Nathan, my business partner. There is no way I could run this bar without him and not be there as much. If he wasn't there, I would be there every week. I would say not every month because I would have to be to maintain control. He is the quality czar, and we really just
Zaz.
Yeah. It wasn't a Russian thing, but yeah, we can get there if you want. But yeah, I suppose like look, he's the guy on the ground. He manages everything and makes sure that it stays on track. And maybe it's luck, maybe it's experience, maybe it's skill, maybe it's some amalgamation of all three. But it's like we really, I'll say it. We fill each other's gaps.
Hey.
But in terms of like, yeah, he doesn't drink.
He's got
I
three
do.
legs.
Yeah. He doesn't drink. I do. But regardless of that, he has a much better palate than I do, and he tastes and he creates, and he's good at that. He is absolutely savage on service and hospitality. Like he will not let shit slide. Like I've been in meetings with him that like, I feel I'm quite hardcore on levels of service and hospitality, but I get awkward in some of our meetings, some of our staff meetings, where he's calling out people like our staff for ticket times when ticket times are 10 seconds over the average, or when someone didn't get greeted at the door within 20 seconds and it was actually 24-second average, and he's calling people out and he's like, it's just not good enough, guys. And I'm like, you know, even me as an owner, his business partner, I'm in the room and I'm like, even that seems pretty heavy to me, even, you know, like, but respect to him for like, he doesn't give a fuck. He's like, I will fucking tell you, like, if we say 20 seconds is what we're aiming for someone to get greeted at the door, or if we say it should be 45 seconds for them to have water on their table, or if we say it should go out at this temperature, or if we say when we dump the ice in the sink that it should make no noise at all, we mean it should make no noise at all. And then he will call people out and say, guys, I was on the floor the other day and I could hear you dumping your ice in the sink. When you put your tin down to the sink, you drop it in and you pull it out and you do it smoothly. And he's like, he will pick everyone up on this and he'll never stop until it's right. So I credit him massively with being able to do that. But I suppose if I'm going to credit myself with anything, I would say I have 10
raise him
things.
so much here. I'm cool too.
Obviously, yeah. But if I have like my top 10 attributes, no. But if I have anything, like, first of all, like when I say like I fill in some of the gaps there, is like I've been in the industry long enough to not need to do service so much. I understand the financial side. I've been in corporate hospitality. You know, like EBS is quite corporate. I work with big brands, so I understand finances. I understand the P&Ls. I can look at you will know this from like management and probably from marketing and all kinds of other areas. Like you can kind of look at numbers on a spreadsheet and you can tell yourself a story about what the business is doing. Like I can look at the numbers from last night and I can kind of see the flow, whether we had too many people on, whether we were running drink, like whether we're batching too much or whether we're doing too much a la minute. You know, I can kind of tell a story from the numbers and I can feed that back to Nathan, that's not necessarily his strong point. And I can say, hey, I'm looking at this, like this tells me that this is happening and you need to be operational and on site and be on top of this. So it's really, yeah, to some degree, it's luck of being in that kind of industry, and then it's hiring other people as well. Like, that's something I'm involved with as well. Is like making sure that we've got the right people in the building. But yeah, the simple answer is just people. Like you can't people and systems. That's it. If you're going to break it down to two things, you want to run a bar and not be there every day. People, systems.
I think that's an incredible answer. My favorite thing about...
But I hate it and I disagree with everything.
No. I think it raises the two... Well, it's the only two important points that I like talking about. I think with Nathan, the only comment I have on Nathan was when I was there, he just that night had to go to an awards ceremony, which was Manchester's Bar Awards, and he'd won like icon of the scene. And because he doesn't drink and has no reason to get like mental, and I had a guest shift that night, he just came back like, cool, yeah, I'm back. I'm like, all right, how'd it go? Because I was mid-service. I'm like, yeah, it went well. And then all these people come like, icon of the industry, icon. I'm like, okay, cool. You like won the highest award possible, but you're just back to giving people shit about ticket times.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is beautiful, right? In itself. And I think you need those people because he's not wrong. It's just, we can sometimes be very nice. I think there's an element of, at the end of the day, if we're talking about people and systems are in place for a reason. And whilst systems, you can give lax to certain systems and times and whatever, with you can not meet the guidelines at some point. But in order to not meet the guidelines, you have to balance it out with exceeding guidelines at other points. Does that make sense? There's a reason why there's an average. And I think this is another example of why, like, only in the UK did I hear the term ticket times.
Yeah.
Only in the UK did I hear about, like, the be at one rule, which is like a member of staff has to make eye contact within 5 seconds of somebody entering the room, right?
Yeah.
And whilst 5 seconds sounds like a very short amount of time, when you sit there and you take your phone out, everyone has a smartphone nowadays, and you click timer and you click 5 seconds. When you've come into a venue and you're standing around for 5 seconds and people are walking past you who obviously work for the place and are avoiding eye contact, 5 seconds feels like a long time.
Yeah.
And then any second above that, when people are walking past you and intentionally ignoring you. So it's not like they can't see you. You can always forgive somebody for not actually seeing you because they have their back to you. But when someone's like, you know what I mean? It's done. Like you're getting annoyed. And I don't hear that. Like I think I haven't heard a single fucking venue bring that up outside of the UK in 10 years.
Yeah.
In any guest shift I've done, in any bar show I go to, it's just not a standard. And yet when I did a guest shift last year, last year, because we're in the new year. I did a guest shift last year in Cocktail Trading Company. And they don't do guest shifts. Elliot is the owner of the place. He's a friend of mine. He's a match bartender back in the day. And he was on point station. I was on second station. I took over. It was one of those montage guest shifts where somebody was on before me. So I took over to a shit show. And the staff, there was a bit of miscommunication. They already started selling my drinks when I haven't even had a chance to reset to my drinks. So we got we were in the weeds from the get-go. And because they have a particular system, which obviously I wasn't privy to, of how they do their ticket times, we were behind. And we weren't even like 10 seconds behind, 4 seconds behind. We were like a minute, 2-3 minutes behind, which obviously causes frustration to a well-oiled system with the right people in place that I was 100% ruining in that moment. And yet, after 10 years of doing guest shifts and after being UK trained and feeling comfortable that I can smash out a guest shift, being faster than most people in a bar where they should be faster than me, schooled like a child, like my first shift. And that's something that unfortunately comes with people actually learning that system in the country of origin and then exporting that and adhering to that standard outside. If there's anything that can be said in promotion of, I can say this as a foreigner, if there's anything that can be said to promote English colonialism, they exported management.
It's true.
And any country that they managed for a long time seems to be doing okay. Hong Kong, Singapore, parts of India,
America.
Australia. Yeah, America
We
fucked
could
it up.
claim America.
Okay, well, it's getting weird now. They're trying to claim you back.
They're getting their own personality now.
They're in their adolescent stage. But you know what I mean?
250
like,
years.
How the fuck, prior to WhatsApp and internet, did a country the size of England control the biggest empire in the world? It had to be because of systems and people.
Exactly.
And so...
And it definitely permeates into our hospitality industry. I mean, it sounds very grandiose, like we're saying, like colonialism down to like UK hospitality, but it is true. Like I do feel it, you know. Like I mean, to give the reverse scenario, I remember as a UK bartender doing a guest shift in Barcelona, and they were getting like I was doing my own drinks on second station, and they were getting slammed on their main station as well, and I was like, if you throw me some classics, I can help you out with the classics if you want, because you're getting slammed. And I'm taking up the second station. You've only got 2 stations. And like, he's like, yeah, cool, man, no worries. And I could see he had like 9 tickets on. And I'm like, okay, cool, just throw me the classics. I'll do them. Like, boom, boom, boom. And I'm knocking out classics. And he's like, and I'm sweating. I'm fucking like, I'm pumping out drinks fast. And he's like, why are you bartending so fast? Like, why are you working so hard? And I'm like, you got like 9 tickets. And he's like, but people get their drinks when they get their drinks. It's like, and I'm like, but that's not how I like. If you've got like any more than 3 tickets,
you're
like,
fucked.
Like if anyone's waiting any more than 10 minutes in the UK, like even a pretty average bar would be like, all right, we're failing here. Even a pub would be like, that's not okay. Like this is just not acceptable.
And this is the thing that that will always stifle the progress of other bar communities, because this attitude will be seen as toxic. In the Mediterranean, you're working too hard. Why do you give a fuck?
Yeah.
And what and that's not to criticize anyone else's culture, but why not give a fuck?
Exactly.
Like,
It takes
you know what I
it
mean?
back
Like,
to what you said before. Like if it can be done better, why not do it better?
and that's it. And that's a much
Like why not
try like maybe we're talking shit about like entire swaths of the population.
We're vine pairing it.
Yeah, we are vine pairing. Yeah. As we've made it a verb. But yeah. Anyway.
But this is where I got so I managed to get respect. Okay, I'm projecting here, but I believe I remember when I got respect from a certain bar industry personality, which is massive in Asia. His name is Philip Bischoff. Philip is like 40 plus. He was an OG German bartender. It was my second year ever of going to Tails. I'd won a DiSerrano comp. And the only reason I got a gig working at Tails was because of people from Netherlands friends. And it's one of these moments where the kind of like all of the planets align. I got this random gig to make some money, which I thought was a great gig to take because it was like $500 and that would pay for just being in America, which is super expensive. I go to this gig and our job was to bartend for 3 hours doing a fairly simple menu. Turns out the person in charge of organizing the gig was a guy who like ran a cocktail comp that I was a global finalist at. So when he had 3 bars to choose from, he was like, Dan, you're the captain of this bar. You're going to be my point guy at this bar. When I look back at the people who were underneath me in that team, they were all like 50 best. They were all like head and shoulders older than me by 10, 15 years. And Philip was one of them. When I got asked to be the head of this bar, and I was told this is a party, so I came in a kilt with no underwear and these like sneakers that light up. That are USB chargeable. I
kind of want
some of
those.
And this motherfucker came in his full like bar attire, like bespoke suit. And I'm like with a hat on going, yeah, no problem. You got a team. Yeah, fist bump. And this guy's like, I've run 5-star hotels. Yeah. You look like a dickhead. You're my boss. And I could see that. And so when we came behind the bar, I took point and he was next to me and you could see that bugged him. But he respected hierarchy. Germans, they fall in line. It's just orders.
I'm not biting, man.
It's just orders. It's just orders at this point. But what had happened was when we got slammed, everyone else on the 4 stations there crumpled except me and him.
Yeah.
And at one point, he was doing my tickets, I was doing his tickets. It was the classic dance of the bartender. You're helping each other out.
Yeah.
And I remember getting the biggest compliment that I guess a German can physically give, which is, oh, you're not bad, huh?
Yeah.
And that's when I realized...
I found you acceptable.
Yeah, you fulfilled the minimum requirements.
Yeah.
But I remember in that moment that I'm like, okay, cool. He has accepted me as somebody who can bartend alongside him, considering the conditions we're in. And this was a test, considering that what it felt like that he was pissed at the time of the situation. And that's when later down this week, I remember I was actually put on his table at Spirited Awards and he was like nominated for a top 4 and didn't win. And he was pissed off about that too. But the point is, bartending is meritocracy like that.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how famous you are, how many press releases you have. It's how you handle yourself at the bar under whatever conditions that happen. If you can't handle it, if you can't talk to the guest when you run out of glasses or when you can't find something, you don't have the critical thinking to work it out. Somebody asks for a drink off menu, a classic, and you falter, you can't do anything. That will tell an onlooker a lot more about you as a bartender than anything else. It will tell even more about everyone around you, your quality as a professional. And this is where I guess this meritocracy will separate the pretenders versus the real ones. And this is where, going back to maybe the UK or even America and Australia and all that, the OGs just need a table and an ice bucket. If really it comes down to it. But as somebody who went into this industry who hasn't gone through the sticks, and the moment there's a fight breaks out in the bar, they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. Whilst leg or no leg, you're jumping over the bar and drop kicking somebody in, or ladies, you take it outside, whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing to say.
Yeah.
See what I mean?
I have jumped over the bar
a number of times.
It's how I lost my leg.
I wouldn't do it anymore. Fuck that shit. It's not worth it.
One time is enough. Second one,
fucking kill each other, man. I don't give a shit
much
anymore.
harder to pee. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's the whole point. It's you either have that experience or you don't, and it's kind of like this. It's not comparable war and bartending in the 2000s, but it's kind of like, have you gone through the trenches? You either have those skills or not, and those skills are unforgettable.
Yeah.
I'm so happy I learned to bartend in where I learned to bartend
Yeah.
in the time that I was in, because comparing myself to the people my age now, I'm kind of like, I feel sorry for them. I'm like, you guys are cucks.
Yeah.
You're like, you can't do shit. You have.
This concerns me a little. Yeah, so like, I don't know if it concerns me, but it's something I've been musing on recently. Is like, because I'll include my bar in this in somewhat of a negative light. Like, what do we do with like so for instance, like bars like mine and I suppose like more famously Shapes, they would have their this has been commented on by people before me, so this is not an original thought, but like there's a lot of batching, there's a lot of mise en place, and then it's just, hi, how you doing? Oh, what do you want? Okay, choose one of the 8 drinks on our menu. Cool, this is already made. There you go. Enjoy your remaining years, and then you just go on with your life. And it's like, so those people are not getting the experience, like unless they've gone through another bar and done they've done their classics, and now they're like, okay, cool, now you're good enough to not make classics anymore. Like, well done for training on classics. Now you can just serve pre-batched cocktails that maybe you had some hand in providing, or maybe you didn't, depending on how the rota is structured. And maybe there's just like pretty faces that serve drinks, like, like
Pretty
what
outfits.
like I don't know, like pretty aprons or pretty jumpsuits in the
Teletubbies
bars. Like, I don't know, like, and I would include like my bar, like take Speaking Code because I know it well. Like our bar, like all of our guys know how to make classics at the moment because they've come through an industry where there's a heavy lean towards like classics, and you all have to cut your teeth somewhere, and that's the thing. But I openly admit that if there was too many bars like mine, if like 80% of the cocktail bars were pre-batched, rotovapped, all the cocktails are in a bottle by the time the customers walk in, and they're in a freezer, and the glass is also in a freezer with an ice cube everything's pre-iced, and you literally just pour and serve. Like, are they cutting their teeth in the same way? Are they still bartenders in the same regard? And what skills are really transferable? Are the transferable skills now use of equipment? Is it all in the mise en place?
Let's dive into that, right? There's a misconception of what you're actually learning in the bar, right? You can teach a monkey to press a button. You can teach a monkey to vacuum pack and technique. It's kind of like, I remember seeing an old interview with Sasha Petrasky. He said, you will learn everything that you can ever learn about bartending within the first 2 years of your job. Then you kind of plateau. You pick up shit a little bit slower. But you can't teach character. So you can't teach the person to pick up the mixing glass at the back of the fridge, not the one that's easier to pick up at the front of the fridge. That's the way he defined it. Another way to define it, which is I prefer to define it, is that when you switch jobs in different countries, in different types of bars, in different cities, in different whatever, you're not actually learning technique. You're picking up different forms of experience, right? And with regards to batching or no batching, learning to work in a bar that is a very good system of batching and that you can run that well is a great skill. But the moment you're taken out of that environment, you no longer have the necessary experience and skills to run in any other way. Whereas if you had picked up skills and where you don't have any batches, when you have to multi-bottle pour or you have to do other forms of bartending, then you will learn the skills and experience necessary to make that efficient. The funny thing is, it's like manual versus automatic
Mm-hmm.
in cars.
Yeah.
It's easier to go from manual to automatic. It's
Yeah.
harder to go from automatic to manual.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
And so if you are and there's also different types of batching. There's fully pre-batched, or there's the likes of the Dead Rabbit, where they just kind of combine certain ingredients that
Yeah.
would take 4 or 5 hands,
Yeah.
so that you have the main
you're just
spirit.
reducing bottle pickups.
Exactly.
Basically, yeah.
And so this is where it's kind of, it's not a black and white. It's more like a gradient or a spectrum, so to speak, right? You can have completely not batch drink, pressing your lemon lime juice a la minute, cutting a hand block a la minute.
Yeah.
And that takes probably a certain amount of skill to do that. Then you have completely batched your shapes, where everything is just served within 30 seconds in theory.
Yeah.
White Lion did it first, to be honest.
Yeah.
No ice. You know,
Yeah, that was
the,
no
the,
ice as
the
well,
whole
wasn't it?
point
Yeah,
was
yeah.
no ice, where
too
everything's
far.
pre-batched.
Yeah, that's too far.
We have more time to speak to the guest. Completely the opposite result.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
so here's your spectrum, and you can just choose where on that spectrum you'd like to put your venue or your operation. But this is going back to what you said, systems and people. No matter how good your fucking system is, if the people behind it are boring as fuck, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It absolutely does not matter. You have shit people behind the bar. They're not necessarily they know their shit. They might be just boring. They might not have any social skills.
Yeah.
So somebody who can multi-bottle pour with no social skills is equally as boring as somebody who can pre-batch with no social skills.
Yeah.
And I guess that would be the bigger crisis than the system you're picking. You can train somebody for a system, but if they don't have the character or the personality, or you don't have the environment to nurture that, then it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. And I suppose, if you really wanted to just, like strip like bartenders of their ego for a second, you could say like, no matter what you do with your drink, whether you make it a la minute or whether you're pre-batching all of it, pretty much it counts for about 15% of the guest experience. And most guests would prefer a good Irish pub over a classy cocktail bar. In terms of like, did I really have a good night? Like, a great Irish pub with an okay pint of Guinness beats a shitty vibe at a really classy bar that you had to wait 45 minutes outside to get in, and then it was pretentious and you got like
Well, there's a lot of elements to it, right? At the end of the day, there's if everything is put into a spectrum, how many people can tell a good Guinness from a bad Guinness?
Just me.
Fuck
everyone
all.
else.
The country of Ireland and 1% or less of the rest.
I'd say it's 50% mood anyway. It's just like how are you feeling?
Well, there's that, and then but also how much are you paying for a Guinness? Okay, of course, in some parts of the world it's more expensive than others, but the point is, if you can't tell already, but that's the price of pints, and Guinness is not more or less expensive than most pints.
No.
Right? So it doesn't really matter. It's like getting an OK burger, right? This OK burger comes from Irish beef.
Yep.
Where there's a cocktail and all the shit behind it and all the fanfare and all the blah, 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 there's expectations are different and whatever. To strip it down to its bare core, it's somebody I used to work for, a guy called Rob. I loved acid and skating, and did not let go of it until he was like, couldn't skate or take acid anymore. I don't know. I hope he's alive, but he'd left Aberdeen. He worked at the first ever TGI Fridays in Aberdeen. He was my supervisor at that fake TGI Fridays.
Yeah.
He used to occasionally send me messages when he was on a calm down. I haven't had a message from him for like 3-4 years. So hopefully he's still alive. But this is an example of somebody who did the TGI Fridays, like flare comps and whatever, old school, like real old school.
Yeah.
But one of the things he taught me, which was very interesting, is he was already so old that he couldn't do barely night shifts anymore when I was just starting out. And so he used to do Sunday day shifts at the venue. And Sunday day shifts in Scotland, in Aberdeen specifically, was like the alkies came in at doors open and had pints and talked about the Sunday papers.
Yeah.
And so this is one of like my formative memories, one of my core memories. And he said, okay, cool. these 5 people are going to come in at the end of your shift at 6 p.m. I want you to tell me like 2 or 3 things about every single one of them, about them as a person. And that's shit they're not going to share. You're going to have to talk to them and form a relationship with them and ask them questions to find out. He didn't tell me what those things had to be, just he knew them because they come in every time. So in other words, I didn't have to just sit on my phone on a dead Sunday. I had to engage with these old boozers that wanted to discuss the Sunday paper that I had no interest in at the age of 19. About shit I didn't give a fuck about. But that was the information I had to pick up to be a good bartender on a Sunday day shift. That's everything I've just explained has never been given to a modern bartender as a to-do list on a shift in the last 10 years, right? Who are your regulars? What are their names? What's their situation? What do you know about them? What relationship have you formed about them? I remember going into a bar in Lebanon, and the guy who was hosting me was consulting on this bar. He asked to meet there so he could get my opinion on the venue. And he came to meet me, and I said, he's like, what do you think? I'm like, what do you want me to say? The bartender came up to me. I asked him for a drink and a coffee. Then he spent his entire time on the phone. I don't know anything about the venue. I don't know anything about the bartender. I don't know anything about the menu. There's no interaction. I could be anywhere else right now having a coffee and a drink. And then he sat there for like a good, like, I don't know, I think I like trumped him for like a good 2 minutes. He was like, fuck, that's the training we need to be giving. But that training is not something you can write into a manual or put into a TikTok video. That has to be a person in person pushing that Nathan style, forcing them.
Soft skills are just not scalable. It's like, well, they're scalable, but it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult. And you can never create it and go, cool, that's done. It's like constantly managed. Like if you want that kind of soft skill thing where you want to be talking to every guest, or you want to make if you want to like adapt people's character, it's not like changing people's character, but it's like using that, like we want you to use your character to engage with people, and we want you to engage or whatever. Like that shit is like, people will always take the path of least resistance. So you might instill it for a month, and then if you don't check up on it and make sure that it's going well, it will just disappear, because people take the path of, they fall into the path of least resistance, and they'll always just retreat, which is why you haven't got amazing chains, you know, like your big bars don't really translate well into lots of different markets, because the value was in one person who did it really well, and they struggle with systems. They can't scale it.
That's where TGI Fridays, when it first came to the UK, they brought over all these American old school trainers. They essentially, TGI Fridays was more instrumental in the spread of cocktail culture and good training than anyone else. Be At One came from TGI Fridays. Match Group came from TGI Fridays. Then when they scaled and they started franchising and opening up, the core team of 20 that then probably trained correctly like 40, 60 people, they had to then get dispersed, you know, and then that's when failures happen. How can one person correctly train 20 other people and do it over and over and over again? And then how can that person do it within like 1 week of training versus being there on, you know, in person? And this is one of those things where like, employees only, they try to do this. They try to scale it, right? And they send a member of the core team to all over the world to like open up new EOs. This is this thing that the bar industry hasn't fixed yet. It's that how to scale correctly if you're gonna open multiple venues in such a way that you still hold the core values and quality product of the original. And if you're gonna do that, what are you going to offer this person who's already probably spent 5 years minimum, if not 10, 15 years in the career, and incentivize them correctly to fucking do that? Like imagine you're like, cool, my life is in New York. I work for employees only. I make $100K a year with tips and whatever. Go move to Singapore, motherfucker. Uproot your whole life and go train these kids to your values. The culture doesn't stick. The language, there's two. Whole different ball game, but now I have to make them like my New York bartenders. And what are you going to get?
when you're trying to hire, it'll come like a cold jet of water in the face. You're like, try and just hire people in, well, maybe not Singapore, but somewhere else. Like I remember they opened in Miami. I was like, yeah, but the pool, the market that you're drawing from in Miami is not New York. You know, like these guys are nightclub bartenders in Miami.
And even so even within the country, they opened a whole bunch. LA, Miami, there was a bunch, and that's in the same country which speaks the same language and, you know, all this other stuff. And so this is where, I guess, is there real scalability in cocktail bars, or is there's no way to do it? I don't think we have I can't think of a single example of a successfully scaled cocktail bar concept.
Not at like top level. I'd say the UK has some of the most modern ones. Be it one, LCC have got a few, but it's mostly in London. I mean, it is London. It's LCC, but and they have maybe 9 venues or something within London.
But are they high end, or have they become?
No, they're not high end.
You know what I mean?
They're maybe
they're industry standard, I would say.
Yeah, they're industry standard, but they're not. They're about as high end as you get scaled.
And that's maybe the.
And then you've got the post top 50 bars that have European capital city Singapore or European capital city Dubai.
Well, this is it. Like, here's an example: Paradiso. Like, we're in Barcelona. I was in discussion
because this is the journey, right? It goes
Dubai, Singapore,
bar top 50 Singapore.
It's one of the ways they maybe make some money, you know?
Yeah.
But to give you an example, I was speaking to the head of the Dubai Paradiso. Mm-hmm. There's a bar show now in Dubai that's coming called the Gulf Bar Show. Mm-hmm. I work with Zamora Company, Liquor 43, Martin Millers. Mm-hmm. The local representative went into the Paradiso in Dubai going, listen, you know, here's Dan, here's the thing where he's being flown over. You know, we want to possibly do an event in your venue because you're super fresh, you just opened, and we want to do a guest bartending during this bar show with you guys. And the guy on the ground, God knows why this was his response. And I don't know him, so I'm not going to, you know, judge him. Kind of, you know, he's like, we don't, you know, this guy is from Barcelona, yes. And he knows Giacomo, yes. We don't do things like Giacomo does things. I'm like,
you kind of have the brand, no?
You've opened the first non-European, you know, brand. Your job, the only reason you have a job is because you work for essentially Giacomo's franchise. Hmm. Do you really want to open with, we don't do things the way Giacomo does things? That. The whole point is that you're doing exactly what Giacomo is doing.
Fuel up with the Paradiso brand and then throw it away immediately.
That's exactly your fucking point. You're trying to replicate the success of what he's doing in Barcelona here to make money, and then you adapt whatever he needs to in the market. Mm-hmm. But also, we're not asking you to do anything different. We're asking you to do an event, and yet for some reason you lead with this. So I bring it down to just the person's got a good, you know, just got this cool opportunity. He's probably very proud of the job. And he's probably getting a lot of people who want to do stuff with him because of where he is and the brand name behind him. But he also probably wants to make a name for himself because he's now hitting this up. So, you know, this is my justifications for this sort of behavior. But I turn around and said, cool, I go to Dubai a lot. Here's another 5 venues we'll get. I know somebody in there. You wanted a Paradiso, you got burned, cool, Sexy Fish. Sexy Fish, my friend Sammy's behind is like, cool, this, and this, we'll take care of this and this. Done, high five. My guy on the ground who doesn't deal with guest bartenders goes, that was such a much easier like conversation. I'm like, there you go. Cool. And maybe a year down the line, this other person will completely sing a different tune. Maybe they won't even be in the job.
Yeah.
But that's just an example of an interaction, a practical example of how things can sometimes go. And I don't blame anyone in that situation. I don't look down on anyone.
No.
You've expressed your situation the way you saw fit in that situation. I have done, when I was younger, some dumb shit. We all do dumb shit. You choose either to learn from it or you get away with ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. But there's
there's something huge, and you would probably have a similar experience to me, having traveled a lot and also living in Spain after living in the UK, and having and probably Russian background, Russian parents. Like there's something sort of unconquerable about differences in culture where you're like, but this makes sense to me, and then somebody does something that doesn't make sense to you from a different culture, and like it's just not a solvable issue. You just like they are coming from a completely different background to me. They have a completely different set of rules that they manage in their life. Their whole world is completely different to mine, and I'm not going to bend them to my will. So just let it be.
But you learn that through travel, right? Okay, if there's anything that a young bartender can learn from any of the icons that they look up to, if you worship Harry Craddock, Jerry Thomas, and the classic bartenders of yesteryear, cool. But analyze them. What really probably gave them a leg up? What probably really gave them an advantage over other people of their generation? Because there was a million bartenders that nobody gives a fuck about that were there and present. Most of that time, that comes down to all of these figures traveled. And this goes back to what I was saying. The experience they gained from a multitude of different sources is what gave them the advantage. If you can garner as much experience from multiple sources as possible, that is what's likely to give you the edge, consciously or subconsciously.
Absolutely.
Working in different countries, working in different bars, working in different environments under toxic, non-toxic people will give you the experience necessary to make a more informed choice in your career, or more so.
Yeah.
It will also give you the range of vision to go, oh, here's a market opportunity to be a loudmouth talking Instagram heavy community based channel that could fail or could not fail at its inception, but oh, look, it makes sense. And now I'm doing this.
Yeah.
I would not be able to do this had I not done what I did before to get to the point where I could have made that gamble.
Yeah.
Right. No one becomes a visionary multi-millionaire. I'm not a multi-millionaire, but you know what I mean. Nobody, I wish.
That's what you were telling me in the bathroom.
In rubles. I was like, how much? Oh, yes. For one
3
Lego.
million.
For one Lego too.
That's your last leg joke.
I'm getting to him. He's like a single-stemmed coupette. I'm so sorry. I will stop. But the point of it is, nobody gets there by sitting in one place. You have to go do something. And as painful as it is, that doing something brings you out of your comfort zone. And like you said earlier on, you have to try 10 things and 9 things will fail, and one thing will go. Mm-hmm. If you do nothing, nothing happens. Simple as that.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many sort of stereotypical quotes there that really do ring true, that like, maybe sound fucking cliche, but like, I mean, one that, I don't know who said it, but like, if you're not failing regularly, you're not trying hard enough. Like you're not pushing the boundaries. If you keep succeeding, then you're obviously not fulfilling your potential, which is true. Like you should fail every now and again, so you go, oh, that's where the line is. Cool, I'm good there.
I think it's also scary because if you keep succeeding, having never really failed, you almost have like the Conor McGregor effect, where when you finally fail, it's really difficult to get back up. Like if you have a lot of successes in a row,
you don't learn how to fail.
Well, it's you're not even used to that, So when something doesn't go your way, you have no idea how to react. And there's a lot of people I've seen who've won like back in the day, if you won world class, instant celebrity.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why we remember X amount of world class winners until they become irrelevant. Because the general nature is a lot of them who participated in 2010 weren't 20, 21, 22, 23. They were 30 plus and they were experienced. So they have stories, experience, all the things we're talking about to bring to the table. A, B, they are less likely to make a fuck up because it's not going to go to their heads because this doesn't matter. Whereas when you have all these stories of bars opened by ex-comp winners, that close in 2-3 years.
Yeah.
And yet they were on 50 best the year before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fast rise, fast fall.
What happened there?
No substance. Yeah, what happened there?
What happened there?
One sentence. What happened there?
What happened there?
Okay. No answer. I'll take
Well,
it.
I don't know. Like the
Yeah, yeah.
This-
I know, like, because I was chatting. I was at the UK top 50.
Franklin and Sons. That was like last week.
The Franklin and Sons one. Yeah, it was last week. I think. Yeah, last week. I think I'm still hungover. Actually,
Satan's-
so it must be like within
Satan's
about
Whiskers
10
is number 1. No.
Yes. Satan's Whiskers 1, Schofield's 2, and
No, Panda's 2.
Panda's 2, and Schofield's 3. I think. Yeah. I get them mixed up because it's the same 3 at the time.
So much.
It's the same. They just rotate.
So many modernist bars.
Yeah,
number
yeah,
1,
yeah.
number 3, both classics.
Both classics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What are
yeah,
you talking
yeah.
about?
Yeah. But yeah, we were talking about like how you get these precipitous drops from some bars, like and you get these very weird differences between global top 50 and UK top 50, and it's like, how can these two things be true? You know, how can Lioness be top 10 global and 41 UK? Like how is that possible? You know, like someone's not. But it's subjective. It doesn't really matter.
They're not
anyway.
one organization, to say the least. And
Yeah.
and there's politics.
And it also
involved.
doesn't matter. Like it's like once your bar's full, you're like, do I give a shit anymore? Like what is it I'm doing it for? Is it just for bravado, or is there like some marketing money there, or are we all aiming for post bar like my venue in Singapore, or are we waiting for Dubai to come? And
I think a
offer
lot
us,
of it is
like,
reactionary.
$500,000 or something.
A lot of it is reactionary. Of course, you want validation.
Mm.
You know, it's like your mom says, you're a good boy, but you want your uncle that comes to the barbecue once every year to say you're cool. If they tell you, you know,
I thought you were going somewhere else.
well, you know what I mean? Like your mom, you know, your parents say, do this, and it sucks. But that cool uncle that comes once a year says, do this, and you suddenly listen to him. And it's a lot of this is reactionary. Like if
Yeah.
you've built a business, you've sunk so much of your ego, your money, your time into it. So to get an award or to get some validation for someone is great. Whether it's because at the end of the day, when you're a business owner, your real validation is usually revenue.
Yep.
Right? Followed by possibly the guest experience, possibly your staff behavior. No bar owner who's got a profit margin of 2%, no matter how much the guests love them or how much the staff think they're the best, is going, yeah, I'm a good guy. You know, then you don't have a bar, you don't have a business, you have a job that you've just created for yourself. So all of them want to have a healthy profit margin. That's the business game. And so I think a lot of them, they possibly even start off as that. Let's get some validation. This makes me feel good. I have an award. I have a little Bitcoin. Yes. I think I did an interview with Simone Caporale, which he said a very important thing when we were discussing this topic, which was, what are you going to do with that? Like, you have a year after you gain this non-important thing that means God knows what, and do something with it. Are you going to go on the back of that and open a second bar? Pitch it to investors. I have a name now. Open a bar in Singapore. Open a bar in Dubai. Are you going to go get a book? Are you going to go justify to existing investors that we're doing a good job and that's why the margins suck? But look at this, right? How are you going to convert this into something?
Yeah.
If you have one best bar in the UK and you've not converted it to anything the following year and you just keep doing the same thing over and over again, you haven't moved.
Wasted the opportunity.
You haven't moved anything.
Because probably you were already busy every single night of the week, and you probably hit capacity most of those nights, and it probably doesn't change much revenue in the.
And then it's not a wasted opportunity, but that means you didn't give a fuck about it, which is fine. You know, you've sent your team out; they've had a good time, so it's not your win at this point. It's their win. You're letting them have that moment, and that's also okay. Like there's this whole thing where like some people have bars that are selling mojitos and mojito menus and walkabouts, and they're making buck, but they all for some reason want a Michelin star restaurant. Whilst people in Michelin star restaurants are in the red, using brand money and sponsor money to break even, and they all just want to open a pub.
Yeah.
Right? Because they just want to print money. And those two fucking teams
Just keep going back and forth.
right? It's
The
like
pendulum swing. Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's where, but I guess that's a whole new level of maturity that you need to get to years and years down the line.
Yeah.
And then you go just working in real estate.
Yeah, that's the dream. Yeah. No, but it's interesting, and there's so many levels to it. But anyway, more positive stuff. What about you, man? Like, let's. I'm going to start wrapping up, but I want to know, what's your mission? What's your goal? What do you dream of? You always got some new project cooking. You did cocktails for you.
Yeah.
You're now indie bartender. You must have. What's your next little? What are we going to see next?
So the next thing that's going to launch, it's going to launch on the 10th of March. So I have no idea when this is out.
It's already in the past, probably, but yeah.
Fantastic.
So on the 10th of March,
So on the 10th of March, we're going to launch. I've launched. We're going to launch the world's first cocktail menu database.
Okay.
The idea behind it is cocktail menus are great. I steal them. I buy them. I collect them. Mainly buy and collect. Don't steal. But and then we get inspired by them, right? That's kind of like a big way that a lot of people go check other people's menus out and whatever. And yet we don't have an online resource where you can find all these things. You kind of have to go bar to bar, blah, blah, blah. So wouldn't it be cool, the same way that we search cocktails on Difford's Guide, that there would be a resource out there that has cocktail menus from some of the best bars in the world?
Yeah.
That was the first idea. The second idea came on top of
But that's smart, because to some degree, we're certainly not churning out new classics like we used to be able to, right?
No.
So websites like Difford's Guide, it's like, yeah, they got it covered, and so what is being churned out is new cocktail menus, and I think certainly within the industry, like what I would like to see is a database of menus, but also some maybe extra information about it, like how do they make it, what was their inspiration behind it, what's the prep, maybe even the specs. If you can post like a little bit of the back of house.
That's version 2.
Okay.
So for now, I've got 106 menus from all over the world, literally from all over the world, that I've collected over the last
you haven't got any of my menus.
X amount of years.
Thanks for asking. Anyway, carry on.
Well, this is our first time. You haven't even bought me dinner yet. I'm like, what kind of service is this? 45 seconds. Nathan, come on, what the fuck is going on here? These ticket times
You only gave us 3 drinks.
are ridiculous. Yeah. But we've got 106 menus to launch with. But here's there's another layer to it. When a cocktail bar makes a menu, there is a whole team involved. And yet, if they win an award, or they don't, usually the person credited would be like the face of the bar, whether they're the owner or the head bartender or the bar manager. And so the entire team involved doesn't get any credit. So the prerequisite of being part of our database is that you list the entire team that was a part of that menu creation process. We're leaving it down to just the bar team, so there's designers and whatever, but they've been paid for their job.
Yeah.
The point of it is to create a digital footprint for bartenders that might have worked in 5 great bars and be part of 5 world-winning venues, but they have no way to back that up.
Yeah.
So that's the second layer. So it's democratizing that. So I have no idea, because I've been sitting on this idea for like 4 years. I have no idea why the likes of diffordsguideliquor.com or these other big places that could have done this years ago haven't done this. So we're done. We're high, the best scanning that you could do, the most high dots per inch scans. They're high resolution. They're searchable. They're flickable. They make noises when you go page to page. Yep. We've got all the names now for like 70% of them, where that's going to be the next big launch. And the idea for that is, once we launch, and I've actually paid for a real PR company to help me launch this, because the intention is to create the world's largest database of this stuff. And you can go there to get inspired by flavor, by design, by whatever. And we're going to launch on the 10th of March in the past. And the idea is to grow to 1,000 menus by the end of the year. That's the next big project. And that will bring value to the community, regardless of where you are in the world. You can sit and you can browse it, and I can do menu of the week, and I can do whatever. I can make content about it. But there's no other intrinsic value other than this is cool and this is interesting.
Yeah.
So that's the next big project.
Yeah, it's cool that it's connected to people as well. Because you could, I mean, maybe like another stage, like, you know, like much like Wikipedia. If you ever want to go down a rabbit hole on Wikipedia, you can always click links, right? So like you could have like menu, specific drinks have specific bartenders, and you can go, oh, let's see what else I like this drink. Click on the bartender. Oh, look, they've created drinks for Dead Rabbit and employees only.
So
okay, cool. And they've got
Bartender
drinks
Wiki
there,
is the one after that.
Okay, cool.
So
Good idea.
that's already no. This is already. Who are you? You just happen to have a brain. We've already licensed out from Wikipedia because you can buy the license. Because if you follow any like fandoms, like you can there's a wiki fandom, so it's the same Wikipedia license. But the idea is to map modern bartending. So we're gonna go country to country, city to city. Cool. Bartender World Tree. This bar at this time existed. Like Blacktail in New York, closed bar. Yeah. But there's a lot of people who worked there during its period. Yeah. Its menu is a work of art, if you've ever seen that menu. But if we don't give it a digital footprint, it will forever disappear from reality. I'm going to give it a digital footprint. I'm going to give everybody credit. And I'm going to talk about why that bar was cool. And if you're someone like me who goes on Wikipedia to look for why is this spoon shaped like this, and then 50 million tabs later is looking at the genocide of the Belgian people in Africa for some strange reason. I'm one of these people. And I'm like, oh, this is never going to end. We have so many things to look at. Bartender Wiki is the next step. So the menu database is a primer. Because I believe that is equally as cool and interesting and impressive as looking at what David Wandry did with Jerry Thomas 120 years ago.
Nice, man. That sounds amazing. Always excited to see what you're gonna do next, and it's a pleasure, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Cheers, brother.
That was the worst
Oh,
handshake.
do you want to do it again?
Yeah. Here we go. Manly.
yeah. You got my fingers.
Yeah. I was gonna say. It was like,
maybe we're gonna get a kiss then.
You know.